tremendous dice rolls, excitement, activity,
Tremendous is a lie.
despair.
Tremendous is a lie.
Your shirt by itself will warm people up.
Oh God.
When you're done with that, I'll need a numbers for conference to find out what those like. Hello, hello. That's all right. That's all right.
Dinner
I haven't seen
decided.
you all weekend. Hey, Josh.
Dinner
You didn't see me
decided.
yesterday?
Dinner decided to give us our food 2 minutes before the event.
If we get a chance, one of the two we could see if the stream is live. It looks like it is. I mean, on your right. I don't know if you're seeing it.
It looks like it.
It looks like it is.
Classicore said something.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, greetings, folks.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks.
He's gonna. Thank you so much.
Tighten up there. He's still charging.
Yes, can you reach down here? It's garbage.
I tried really hard not to just like one like this, and I just
Sleep.
failed so hard.
It is, but the wire likes to. I have to push it.
Maybe. You're supposed to be like absolutely.
And this is better.
That is. Say again.
Oh,
Yeah, I am. In fact, Classic already said hi.
yeah, there's.
Said
Twice.
Jim is very much alive.
Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, in that case, we are all ready to go. Almost. Welcome, everybody, to the sixth part of a six-part adventure. This is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. This is D&D with Writers. So, my name is Gregory Wilson. I am the author of this adventure, and for the more than 6 years, because there was this pandemic thing you might have heard about that interrupted it, but for the past 6 years that we've been here anyway, I have been running adventures set in the Forbidden Library universe, which is sitting here, right here, Tales and Tomes, the Forbidden Library. The first 3 adventures that we ran took place from the years of 2019 till 2021, I believe. And then the next set, which is called The Legacy of the Forbidden Library Trilogy, we have run it since then. And it's been my honor in every one of those years to be able to do this with authors, all from the Writers' Symposium. And this year we actually have someone not new to the symposium, but new to this particular adventure, which we will introduce as we go along. So before I talk about what happened in the adventures past and give these lovely folks a recap, I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves to you. I will say that you will be a significant part of this going forward, by which I mean your cheering, your despairing sighs, your leaping from your seats, pumping your fist, running down the hallway being like, why are you not watching this? Get in here. Screw your auction. This is much more important. All that stuff will be very much more important and valued and the like, and we are glad that you are here. So I'm going to start with the person who's been with us the longest in this crew, and that, of course, is Karen. Karen, please introduce yourself. And tell us about introduce both.
Hi, I'm Karen Menzel. I'm an author and a teacher, and I am playing Lassen, who is a drowned rogue with a very sad and lonely life in the Underdark with parents who just wanted him to be able to kill things. All he really wanted to do was perform and tumble. So, fortunately, he went away to school where he got to found his own drama club and fulfill his dreams, becoming a professor of the school. That's Lassen.
Yes, thank you, Karen. I'm excited to see what Lassen gets up to and whether there'll be any theater, show tunes involved in it. Thank you, Karen. Next up, someone who's been in the symposium for a long time as well. Richard, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your character?
Yeah, I'm Richard Lee Byers. I write fantasy and horror mainly, some superhero stuff. For those of us who are lucky to be actually be here at Gen Con with us, the Green Ronin booth has copies of my Mutants Mastermind superhero novel called Doom That Came to San Francisco. And I have a story in the 2024 Gen Con Writers Symposium Anthology New Dimensions, which you should all be picking up at the window around the corner there.
Edited by
Edited by,
person.
yeah. And my character is a human fighter who is, a good alignment, but nonetheless believes that most problems can be solved by killing someone.
the good way.
But you have to do it with flair.
Yeah, exactly. It has to do with flair. I should also note that, yes, if you haven't already done so, please do pick up a copy of Interdimensions, which is our anthology this year. Many of the symposium authors do have stories in them, and it does support what the symposium does, including this event and many others. We also have a USB drive that has a bunch of stories and a class by Cat Rambo and a number of other things on it, and so that is also a very high value item. If you don't get it tonight, then definitely please consider getting it tomorrow or Sunday, because it supports us and I think you will like it as well. And the person who edited the anthology is the person in the middle.
I am the aforementioned Toya Christensen, the editor of the aforementioned anthology. I am a writer and editor in general. I have worked on everything from prose fiction to manga to online courses. I am also working in the games industry as a game designer, narrative designer, editor, diversity consultant, narrative consultant, all the storytelling things. I will be playing a completely newly minted character just from last night, a human rogue named Can-Can, so we're going to find out what she's like together.
Yes, you will learn through play, as they say. Yes, Toya, I should also say. Toya also plays with me on my Expedition to the Mysterious Peaks campaign that I run on my Twitch channel. In case anyone was curious, the reason that phone is propped up in a rather precarious position is that we're streaming this live to my Twitch channel. So again, all of your shouts and cheers and all that sort of thing will go directly into this and be maintained for posterity. But if you don't want to be seen, please do not run up here and do this, or they'll all see you. Okay. Right, moving right along. Thank you, Toya. We have, of course, Emily. Please let us know. And I love that PR.
Thank you. Totally not frazzled and run in here anyway. So I'm Emily Bell, I'm raised E. Bell, and I have a pitch for the USB drive, which hopefully you've gotten the bundle that has the book and the USB drive. There are 16 original stories on the book, but I also have, there are two bonus original stories on the USB drive, one written by myself and one by Sharon Useless. So for the full set, I have fun, just the same. And I'm just thrilled to be here. I'm playing Whist Songheart, who was also here last year, who is a gender-fluid wood elf bard who does not always pick up on social cues and is neurodivergent and very earnest and uses he pronouns but really doesn't mind however people perceive him, and any pronoun is fine. So he did correct anything.
Awesome stuff. Thank you, Emily. Last but certainly not least, the Vision in Red is course. It's perfect for this. Is the amazing Brandon. Brandon, could you introduce yourself? And then I put a little folder in the front too, if you could maybe show that off after you're done introducing yourself. So.
Hello everyone, my name is Brandon O'Brien. I am a poet, writer, and game designer from Trinidad and Tobago. This is my third Gen Con Writers Symposium, and I'm always having a lot of fun being here. I am, among other things, the author of the poetry collection Can You Sign My Tentacle? Which is the winner of the 2021 Science Fiction and Fantasy Poetry Association Elgin Award. I was recently announced the Poet Laureate of Seattle WorldCon.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
And I've also written and designed a great deal of game content, including working on the RPG for Greyshade, the trilogy of dark fantasy novels written by one Gregory A. Wilson. Very cool. And we should all be reading all of the work very passionately. I'm the idiot who starts putting that in 5e, so I'm very excited for people to be able to play that as well, and that's a lot of fun. I will be playing Calixan Brightscale, a dragonborn sorcerer who likes getting information so much he's willing to fall in a hole to get it.
Yes.
You've done it.
You
Let
happy?
everybody know what Can You Sign My Tentacle is all about.
Yes. The short pitch of Can You Sign My Tentacle, by the way, is what if the great old ones of Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos came down to Earth one day because they really wanted to get Drake's autograph before he left town?
Right. And their name is Henry Lamar. Awesome. It is my great pleasure to welcome all of you then to tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. So let's talk a little bit about what happened last time, as I often say. Oh, and I should mention as well that Brandon is not only the game designer of this, but Brandon also plays in my Eberron campaign on my Twitch channel, in a campaign called Oracle of War, where he plays a one-armed and other one is mechanical-armed person named Rowan Shallow, who is a sorcerer with a particular penchant for setting everything on fire. Hence the shirt. So it's good stuff. All right, so here we go. Let me explain a little bit, and this is going to be one of those montages. Imagine the montage of multiple years in a moment, okay? Because there's a lot that we would have to catch up on. So the adventure that we're going through here at least begins in something known as the Vault of Ages, which is located in the Bank of Ages near the most famous school, which, as you should all know, is Hearthglow Academy. It's an academy for adventurers. It is the greatest academy in this or any other known world, Hearthglow Academy for Life. The Bank of Ages was founded relatively recently, about 5 years ago, by 4 graduates of Hearthglow Academy. After the events at Hearthglow in 1361, during which the disgraced former assistant head of school, Vernon Richard. Now, if you had been with me when we were doing stuff that focused a lot on Vernon Richard, I would ask you to boo lustily every time his name is mentioned. But since Vernon Richard is no longer with us, largely due to things that players did to him, we don't need to do that. Just remember that he's a jerk. Okay?
Existence booed him so hard he died.
He died. Boo this man, yes. He unleashed, he did a bunch of bad things and was put on trial for it. And during that trial, he unleashed the energies of a powerful item known as a Megirolith. A Megirolith which almost destroyed both the school and the land around it by consuming all magic from it. It would have been really, really bad. After that happened, it became clear that something was needed to protect against particularly dangerous magical items, or at least contain them. And with the blessing and assistance of head of school Thaddeus Coleriton, the 4 graduates constructed this magical vault, which was obscure enough to hold the world's most powerful artifacts. What they could not know is that they might eventually need those artifacts, no matter what the cost. So 5 years after the vault's construction, these characters were employed as faculty members at Hearthglow. Well, I should say 4 of them, with one exception, but I'll come back to Can-Can in a few moments. As former students, they had a unique perspective on Hearthglow and the events of the last 6 years, having been involved in some of those events personally. And they were celebrating the end of the school year when they were visited by a magically altered mouse whose name was Dorian. The magically altered mouse called Dorian was the favorite pet of 2 wizards, Luminich and Tenebric. And these 2 wizards had made a terrible discovery. they had discovered that the font of magic underneath Hearthglow had become increasingly unstable. Maybe it had something to do with the Megirolith, maybe it had something to do with the fact that we're building an adventure and need tension, but whatever the reason might be, something was clearly off about what was going on here, and as a result, the workings of the academy, the surrounding city, indeed even the fabric of reality itself was at risk. And the only solution to this was to use an item held within the aforementioned Vault of Ages that was rumored to be powerful enough to contain and even reverse magical instability. The problem is that there's a reason it's in the Vault of Ages, and that's that it's really, really powerful and thus really dangerous. And so the only people who could access it were a group of high-level wizards called the Council. And the only one who could authorize its use was the Council, which was split on whether to allow it to be used. And the person who could have broken that tie, Thaddeus Clariton, the head of school that I mentioned before, is off roaming the plains in search of something. Wizards do this sometime. Please see Gandalf, Dumbledore, or anybody else. And so as a result of this, they are running low on time. Knowing they were running out of time, the brothers, at the suggestion of the magically altered mouse Dorian, who the players had met before, the characters had met before, sent for the party and asked them to infiltrate the bank and the vault and retrieve the item. Now, no unauthorized person has ever reached the Vault of Ages, let alone opened it. But of course, look at them clearly, they were capable of doing it. They navigated the guards and alarms of the bank. They solved the puzzle to open the vault, only to discover that the item itself, an item known as the name of which the party still does not know at the beginning of this adventure. I'm glad I put that in brackets. This item had interacted with the font of magic below Hearthglow, which, as I told you, was getting increasingly unstable, and created a rift in time and space. The characters were inexorably sucked into the rift, and when they emerged, they saw a very different vault. They saw a vault which was moonlit and calm blue instead of the emerald green which they had previously seen. And standing waiting for them was a familiar figure. When they had first entered the Vault of Ages, they had met a janitor who had overslept, whose name was Mouse. Here, they ended up meeting an old, weary human, looking as if they were stooped and crooked with age and overwork. That was Mouse. But here they see someone who looks very much like Mouse, but different. This one is dressed in a deep purple robe. His expression is stern. His demeanor is imposing. And he said, at the very end of our session last year, "You must explain yourself," his eyes flashing. And Dorian, on one of the characters' shoulders, whispered, "Something tells me we ain't Hearthglow anymore, Chief. This ain't good." That was the end of your session last year. And now, on the greatest cliffhanger of all time, we return in 2024. And so, I want to put the players here in the perspective of being on the map. Now, I will warn everybody up front that I had this all set up in Roll20, and then it turns out that internet access goes to die here, so there's no way to actually get internet. So instead, you're going to have to imagine your characters on the map. I apologize. But what we do have here is the map of where you are. This is the portal, so all of you are standing right in front of it, and right in front of that gate is this person with his arms folded and eyes slightly glowing in the reflected blue light. And he stares at all of you and says again, "Explain yourself." Now, one last thing before I hear what the party wants to do. 4 of you, and that basically means everybody but Can-Can, have arrived already knowing each other because you were there. What you might be a little surprised to discover is that standing behind you is also Can-Can. Now, Can-Can came here by a rather different route. My guess is that Can-Can probably thought that following the party as they thwarted all the traps and guards so that they could go through and take what they wanted was a good idea, until Can-Can, like everyone else, was sucked into the portal following the characters. It's also possible that Can-Can just wanted to follow the party because Can-Can really thought that this was where heroes would be needed. I'll leave that up to what Can-Can decides as to what the story is. But in any case, the 4 of you arrive with one unfamiliar person next to you and the purple-robed man staring at all of you. So with that said, staring at the now 5 of you, he says, "Explain yourself. Why are you here?"
Well, I just look at Can-Can and say hello. And is Dorian still on my shoulder, or did Dorian leave?
Dorian is on the shoulder, yeah.
Okay. So I look at Can-Can and say hello.
Is there any chance
gaze is intensely growing, right? Like laser beams almost.
One of you might hear it.
If we just told you we were here on official business, would you just take that as a given and let us continue?
And so the man who looks like Mops looks around and says, official business? You don't just get here through official business. You were either sent here or arrived in an uncoordinated fashion.
Uncoordinated fashion sounds like us.
I do not know how I arrived. I do not know these people. I especially do not know these people. I'm just here. I didn't plan to be here, but now I'm here, so.
We were stuck through some kind of rift in time and space.
Well, of course.
A rift in time and space. But you came through this point, and he points up to the portal. You came through that portal. And no one is permitted within that portal.
Well, what defeats the purpose of having a portal, doesn't it?
And he's sort of narrows his eyes. Yeah.
It is worth considering that if we need to be authorized to come through that portal, then us being here authorizes us.
That is a good point. You must be the authoritarian
He,
to authorize. Because it doesn't look like we can go back that way, so we need to go that way, right?
I assume then that you came here from another place, another world.
Yeah, that's how portals work.
He looks at you
my
and
friend, I say. So I say Everlasting is my friend.
yeah. Dorian, by the way, who is generally not a mouse that has trouble speaking up for himself when needed, but Dorian is sort of gradually slinking back. You notice, probably Whisk, that the fur on Dorian's back is standing up a little bit, and you think maybe that's from fear, and then you realize that your hair is also standing up as the man who looks like Mops is growing closer to you. You can feel the sort of static electricity almost of his presence. You're not sure, but it's possible he's not walking. He might be hovering slightly. And as he drifts over next to you and he says, I assure you, this is no laughing matter. If you've come here, there's a reason that you've come here. Nothing happens in this place without accident. So my question is, what intended action has brought you to this place? Whether it was your intention or not. He sort of says, staring at you, Cameron.
So you seem to believe in fate and all that, right?
It is the only thing that exists.
All right, then you tell us. I'm telling you, it was an accident to be here. And you seem to understand something I don't.
He sort of looks at all of you. Can make a persuasion check for me, please. See what we got.
I have a 15 and I cannot see it.
That's persuasion. Yeah, +2.
Yeah.
So, 17? So he kind of stares at you and he says, well, all five of you. And he does this thing where he sort of walks, sort of like a semicircle
Six.
around you. Say again?
6.
Six.
Don't disrupt that rat.
He does not pay a lot of attention to Dorian, but he walks around both sides, almost in a semicircle, and then he says, I knew the time would come. I knew there might be a time when this too became part of the pattern. And he turns and he says, my name is Mopsilian Avum. I'm the coordinator of worlds. And he does this, and the gates fly open. And he was nowhere closer than when they did that. And he walks through and he says, follow. And just walks down here to the center of this room. Now, as a reminder for those who, or a note for those who may not have been with us last year, this vault features an enormous clock, as you can see, held by two crystal, sort of three-dimensional sculptures, essentially, that come out from the wall, and two major crystal statues that are more than three-dimensional. I mean, they're three-dimensional, but they're not attached to anything other than these two dioceses on which they sit. And down here, there is basically a sort of center area with desks. And at the don't know what sort of this place is time-wise or not, but the clock is the same. Yeah.
So it's a clock, not a calendar.
Say again?
I said it's a clock, not a calendar.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Unfortunately, the lack of smartphones will make the calendar part difficult. When you follow him down, he sort of waits and then says, "This is the world of Limnos. It's a place you would call an in-between space. It sits in between other worlds. It is a kind of layer between time and space. For countless millennia, although in truth, time as you know it has no real meaning here, Limnos has acted as a buffer, a place where dangerous devices and creatures have been brought for safekeeping to ensure they could not cause damage or destroy the worlds from which they came. It is my duty, my sacred duty, to coordinate these actions and to ensure that nothing here is being brought out of malice or from a lust for power or for vengeance. And in all that time, I have never feared the presence of a thing, no matter how extreme the peril it presented, until now."
So, what's the most dangerous thing in there?
And he sort of nods and he points to the south of the room where this crystal that I mentioned is glowing. And he says, "This device is known in many languages, many thousands of languages. But in your world and in the common tongue, that is known as the cosmographer. The actual device is found at the center of that crystal. It's actually quite small. But you perhaps would know of this, assuming you know who it is that sent you, or who it is that put this device here in the first place. Your head of school, perhaps." And he kind of raises an eyebrow to see your reaction to his mentioning head of school.
Who is this person head of school? Because he's not talking to me.
I'll nod. Like, I don't want to, yeah, that sounds right.
I wasn't there for that part. I didn't think that up, so I just know that no one.
I think we've all made it over the years now.
So did Colariton make this entire space?
And he nods slowly, and he says, "Not exactly me. Your Thaddeus Colariton may have told you that this device was so powerful that it had to be protected from those who would find it. But part of the reason it's so powerful is that and he points again to the crystal, is not all of it. It does not all belong in simply one world, even in this one. There are many who have attempted to change the flow of time. Some have even succeeded. There are some who have tried to travel between worlds, and here too some have managed to accomplish that feat. But none have been able to do so simultaneously, to travel from one world to the next and from one era to another at the same time, until that was created. Who knows how the device was first made? Perhaps an impossible combination of events on too many different worlds to imagine led to this moment. But once built, it enabled its user to travel through space and time and adjust both at will. And what is done in one world using this device affects all other worlds at the same time." And he pauses and then turns back to you and says, "This is the danger. If someone wishes to change the present to the past, to change all of history, not simply in their own world, but in all of the ones we know across the fabric of existence, every time it is done, the fabric of existence becomes weaker. Eventually, it will rip apart, and all of creation, in every world and every time that has ever existed, will cease at that moment." And when he says moment, you hear this moment.
And you said that's not all the device?
No. There are several parts to it. Many powerful sages on many worlds knew the danger this place provided, but only one, your Thaddeus Colariton, understood it enough to develop a plan to protect both his world and all others, to separate it into elements through complicated magic, and to put those elements in different worlds. Even if someone discovered one element and could get access to it, they could do little with it, and they would discard it in disgust at its apparent uselessness. A perfect plan. But for all Colariton's wisdom, He could not have foreseen the effect having such a powerful item split could have, especially if some great magical disruption occurred near where the item was located. And when the disgraced assistant head of Hearthlow, a man you know as Vernon Richard, threw down a Megirolith during his trial, he very nearly destroyed Hearthlow along with it. Claritin saved the world by stopping time. A group of brave adventurers did the rest, finding something in the past to contain the threat in the present. But combine the energies of the Megirolith with the power of Claritin's spell, began the slow and steady corruption of the fabric of your world. Once the cosmographer was split, that corruption spread to all other worlds through its power. Turns, he stops.
You didn't want to let us in, and now you're telling us all these things about this place. Are you waiting for someone, or is there?
He nods and he says, yes. Apparently I was waiting for you. He says, the falcon cannot give the falcon. The center cannot hold. Soon the fabric of all things will be destroyed. And that is why Claritin is away. He's seeking a way to contain the power of the cosmographer forever. But even if he does find a way, he can do nothing with it until the split elements of the cosmographer can be brought together and then destroyed. Your arrival means the time is nearly run out. If you were able to make it here, it means that Claritin is in dire peril, as is the fabric of existence itself. Vanishingly soon, in a month, a week, a day, an hour, the fabric between worlds will have become so thin that nothing will survive it. Not even Luminos will survive the end of all things.
Okay, how many other pieces are there? Where are they? And how do we get them?
Want to say sleeper or something like that?
Very quickly, like while that happens, I go, so to be sure, we are here right now, hearing you pontificate intensely about the fact that we have a job to do. You knew that when we got here. Claritin's life is in danger somewhere we don't know. And we now have to collect several pieces of a very dangerously volatile artifact. Instead of just thanking us for being here and giving us a thing.
If I could give you this thing, I might have done so if I trusted you would bring it to where it needs to go. But I do not have access to all of it, for I, too, cannot, except under very limited circumstances, leave this place. I am the coordinator of all worlds from here.
Now that sounds like a thankless job to me.
He nods slowly and he says, a thankless job of millennia, yes.
Well, like I said, where are the other pieces? How do we get them?
He looks at you and he says, there are two separate worlds that have these things. Each one of them has its own guardian. Some physical, some mental, some others. You must overcome the guardian in each to retrieve the cosmographer. In truth, 3 worlds are where the 2 elements could be found. You will have the opportunity to visit 2 of those worlds, at least to retrieve the elements. I will have the power to bring you back, but I will not have the power to save you when you are there. Only you can pass the tests that are needed, and the people who give you those tests.
What's the mouse reacting like?
So Dorian has been, I don't know how many people have cats or dogs that get nervous around fireworks. If you can imagine a cat or a dog attempting to melt into the floor, that's basically what Dorian has been doing on Whist's shoulder. And you hear actually Whist very quietly sort of whisper, you think Whist, to whisper to Whist, we may have to do this. He's really powerful, Chief. It's not a good idea to be close to him. Back up.
All right, so we go through the portal. We're on world number 1.
southern piece of of this big crystal, you can see one facet of this almost glowing gem seems to pop off, and glowing floats slowly, hovering and rotating as it does, all the way over to his hand. And as it sort of comes to his hand, you can see that it's actually hanging on a silver chain. And he says, "You will need this to retrieve the others, but whichever one of you wears it when you wear, you are wearing a piece of the fabric of existence."
Oh, that's perfect. That seems like a good time for a backflip. I backflip over there and then away.
I'd love to see an acrobatics check. That actually works.
All right. The brand new die just purchased today.
All right, let's see it.
Woo! Oh yeah, plus 10 and they're on 1424.
Wow.
Sixth
So-
level rip.
Yeah. So you backflip several steps. You know, the gleaming crystal light, catches you as you fly out. And then you land perfect Captain America, front there. And so the Mopsilian Avum stands there and sort of nods slowly and then looks at the four of you like,
Yeah. As long as somebody's got it, we can get going.
I was too nervous about Dorian. I didn't think it should be near Dorian.
okay. So exactly. He slowly puts the 4-day badge crystal over Lassen's neck. He says, "Very well. If you return to the portal at the north side of the room, you may choose the world you wish to visit first. There are 3 in which these 2 elements may be found. Glacios, the world of ice, Flamenos, the world of fire, and Arcanos, the world of magic."
Well, Arcanos sounds least deadly. What do you think?
Well, a world's a big place. Is it going to drop us somewhere near what we got to find?
The hope is that the resonance of the crystals will call to each other.
Okay.
The reality
Yes,
Well,
sir.
we don't want to
Yes,
have a
yeah.
long time.
I don't think that he would hide it in a magic world when it's a magic item, but I also listened before and went by myself, and it was a bit scary, so I'm going to stay with you this time wherever you choose to go.
I grabbed Dorian by the ear. What? Surely you know more about this than we can. Is there a place where we should go? I'm a mouse chief. I can tell you about mouse holes. I can tell you about the wizard's tower I came from. I mean, ice ain't good because it's cold. Fire ain't good because it's hot. Magic sure ain't good because it's magic. I'm just assuming you're gonna figure this out.
What's the rat saying?
Nothing of usefulness. That's it.
It's
Cuts
a
deep.
world of fire. At least we'll be warm.
I mean, no, these are all not all that great.
Well, we have no rational basis for picking, so let's just go to the first one he said.
Somebody got a coin in the book.
There you go.
Can I have it?
Here, read it for you. You want to read it?
It says, today, I will be a good running.
Read the other thing.
Today, I will be an evil.
It's just a two.
So we can let Greg flip.
No. I don't call these shots.
How are we going to throw a two-sided coin to decide if we
I had wondered that myself, but
Considering I am the only person here who's got nothing to do with how you, I will be the one. How about that?
Sounds good. And if it balances, that'll be your third roll.
Arcane, whatever. Okay.
Now, wait
Your
for
your
ice.
friend Kate, make sure like she, he, they are paying attention, right?
Oh no, they are
Okay, cool.
very dead on game.
All right.
Wait for ice.
Yeah?
Well, I guess we're gonna be good, huh?
Does good correspond to ice in this case?
Well, the coin is white on one side and black on the other.
Okay.
All right, roll dice.
Incidentally, these maps are provided by a group of artists called Sei Peku, who do maps for a lot of people, and they are amazing. So much credit to them. Also, it's completely legal to use this because they also have a very, very nice Creative Commons style license. So you should check them out. They're good. So in some ways, as you come through this portal, this room looks identical to the ones that you just departed. There is a portal to the north, just like the one you were in. There is a clock looming above it. Statues stand silent watch on either side of the room. To the south is a glowing crystal. But there are also stark differences. The pendulum of the clock is frozen in place. Everything here seems ice hard and angular. The statues seem to be made of ice. Even the room's floor seems to be icy rather than just marble. The windows along the sides of the room are frosted, and there's bright white light streaming through them from somewhere outside the room. And there are strange white plants that you can see kind of peeking out from between the windows. All of your breaths are visible in the frozen air. Now, couple one mechanical note, which is you do not freeze to death instantaneously, you'll be happy to know. Thanks to Mopsilian's magic, you have been protected from that. However, it's still super, super, super cold, impossibly, almost painfully cold. And the result of that is that you will suffer a -3 to all dexterity-based checks and saving throws in this place. Not that any such checks would ever come up in this place. I'm just saying. I'm just letting them know. All right. The thing you notice besides all that, though, and you can see this just from this side of the gate, is there are 3 desks here, right? And sitting at the 3 desks in the center of the room are 3 strange figures. You can't quite make them out super well from where you are. I should say the gate is open, by the way. But there are 3 figures sitting at the desk here, and they do not move. That's really the only thing that seems to be different, other than what I've described about the ice and everything. But the only extra object in the room, or objects, are these 3 figures sitting in these desks. Otherwise, the glowing crystal from which Mopsilian grabbed the crystal in Limnos, that crystal is over here on the southern side of the room. What do you want to do?
Lasson's gonna try and feel some resonance.
Okay. Specifically I was going to say a crystal resonance
Yes, a crystal resonance.
type of thing. Let me have you make an Arcana check, please.
I don't know if I have that skill. +2 is 13.
13. So as you sort of, you grab the crystal, right, and you're kind of like, you're just sort of feeling the resonance, and then you hear this, you're like, that's it. It's so cold, Chief, I can't believe it. And you realize it's Dorian, who's actually breathing really heavily on his shoulder, right next to you.
Maybe somebody should tuck that rat in their armpit.
I'm not a rat.
He's a mouse.
I'm a mouse. Rats are disgusting creatures, they're really long bodies.
No, we're not going to talk about rats though.
Yeah, it's not good, Chief. No.
I just kind of guessed. We didn't need to speak ill of rats.
Watching my step, so be careful. So
Yeah.
I'm going to approach the 3 figures that are there.
Okay, so you're going to walk up slowly,
Yeah.
sort of as you do. And as you do, and Katniss, you're able to tell as you're walking that like you're not going to immediately slip. But if you ever had to do like a quick move, you might have some trouble holding onto it.
Yeah.
As you get closer, you can see that the 3 strange figures are each bent over one of these desks, like their heads are leaning over. But they look a little odd. On the left side over here, as you get, how close, I should ask, Katniss, do you get? Like close enough to see their faces because they're like this.
Yeah,
so.
well, let's see their faces.
Okay. The left one here seems to be a young boy, maybe 9 or 10 years old, something like that. And they are holding a quill, feather pen, and they're looking down at an unrolled scroll that is on the desk surface. On the middle desk, this one right here, is what looks like an adult man, maybe mid-40s, something like that, in a similar pose to the boy, again, holding a quill, looking down at an unrolled scroll. And at the easternmost desk, right over here, is an old man, hunched over as the others are, with another quill in his hand, an unrolled scroll on his desk. And as you get close, I'd like you two, Cadmus, to make a perception check for me, if you could, please.
Wait, 14.
14. Yeah, something, you don't know exactly what it is, Cadmus, but there is something unnatural about these figures, but you can't quite figure out what it is. In any case, it's certainly true they're not moving.
They look like three versions of the same person at different ages.
Maybe.
Okay. They look human. They don't look like they're made of ice or anything.
Well, they do look human, but they look like they are either exquisitely detailed statues or that they are frozen figures. Because they are, you can see like glittering kind of angular crystal almost hanging off them as they look.
I will address them and say, hello, we've come for a piece of the cosmographer that's stored here.
Silence.
Wesson will go over to read the scrolls, but get distracted by sliding on the ice and end up doing pretend ice skating around.
Okay.
around here.
Right, so all acid is just right, go ahead.
I'm going to step towards the figure in the center, lift one of my hands,
Okay.
and cast Scorching Ray on him.
So, Scorching Ray shoots out, hits the ice figure. Nothing happens to the statue at all. Or the figure at all.
Okay, not frozen then.
It looks good though.
So you said that nothing's written on these scrolls as of yet?
Last one was going to check that and then started ice skating. So no one's actually looked at the
I'll
scroll.
look.
Which one are you looking at? Because you got the boy in the west, the adult in the middle, and the old man in the
I'll
east.
start with the boy and move on down the line.
Okay. So the boy's scroll reads, and definitely feel free to play along with us on this one, folks. 20 plants by 20 years to watch time's passage disappear. Take 0 from chilling waste. The greatest fears lie in their place. And then there is a colon, their place, colon, and an underline, as if something is meant to be written there. I should note that I would have had a handout for you if my internet was working and you could see this on Rollpoint, but unfortunately it's not. So I'll read that again. 20 plants by 20 years, that's the first line. To watch time's passage disappear, that's the second line. Take 0 from chilling waste, that's the third line. The greatest fears lie in their place, and then colon and line. And Cadmus, I should say that those words are etched on the scroll, covered in like this thin layer of frost, which you can kind of brush aside to see it revealed.
Could you repeat the last line again?
Sure. The greatest fears lie in their place. It's colon and underline.
So Can is still really hesitant because clearly she was not expected to be here.
Yes, it's been an odd half
Yes.
hour for Can.
And so she says to everybody, so now that old mom's virility isn't all up in our discussion, can y'all tell me more about this calcitrant you work with?
That is?
Yeah.
I know he's a reasonable headmaster. A little bit goofy, likes to experiment. The school's in danger because of these experiments, and now apparently all the worlds are as well. So
Well, did that surprise you? Did it shock you that, this guy had all this stuff going on?
Not really.
We're used to it.
Every once in a while, something tends to blow up at our flow. We clean up the mess so we can keep all our clothes underneath our skin.
Also, their tenure track positions.
yeah.
Am I tenure?
Tenure track. Everyone's always tenure
Yeah.
track.
It sounds to me like we've got to solve the riddle and write the missing word on the scroll.
I want to check the adult scroll.
Okay, I heard an excuse me first. I'll come to that in a second.
I thought that was what was on all 3 scrolls.
not sofas, mock. Remove those, and 2 star-flanked statues by 6 flights of steps. The answer, try. Colon, underline, and I'll read that again. 12 past 11 times on the clock, yet 27 seats, not sofas, mock. Remove those and 2 star-flanked statues by 6 flights of steps. The answer, try. Colon, underline. Remove those and 2 star-flanked statues by 6 flights of steps. The answer, try. Colon, underline. Period. So that's what the middle person scroll says.
Should we read the third one?
Yeah, why not?
You want the third one?
Sure, why not?
Okay. So the one that is under the old man, that the old man is looking at, his scroll says, 22 triangles facing down. Take 4 lights, gate posts they crown. On sofas, take the cushions 8, and you will then this answer rate. Colon, underline. So again, 22 triangles facing down. Take 4 lights, gate posts they crown. On sofas, take the cushions 8, and you will then this answer rate. Colon, underline. On sofas, take the cushions 8. And you will then this answer rate.
Do we have sofas in here?
If you want to look around, you can. As there do appear to be a few sofas, yes.
Okay. What about the rest of the stuff? Does everything correspond to things we physically see?
Well, I believe, as Wiz mentioned, there were 20 plants in the room. There are seats, if you want to count them. I can tell you that part without the busy work, which is that there are 27 seats there. And there are obviously 2 statues. I should mention, by the way, just because this leads to some confusion, these are not statues. Just want to be clear. These are things that are coming out of the wall, but they're not statues. These, however, are statues. 2 star-flanked statues. And 6 flights of steps, if you count them up, Cadmus, there are indeed 6 of them. And then there are 22 downward-facing triangles that you can see. There are 4 lights with gate posts that are on top of them. And there are enough sofas to have 8 cushions there.
Okay. So everything that's mentioned in these scrolls is physically found.
I start picking up cushions.
Okay? Well, you start to try, but when you get to the cushion, they are covered, in fact, ensconced in ice.
Maybe we need to do the boys.
I think we need to do them in order. I think we're gonna need those around this scroll. Scrolls to actually, make the housing open.
I agree. So the first one, 20 plants by 20 years.
zoom in on a part of
think
the
it's a
map. I
math
can try to do
problem.
that.
They need to figure out right now.
Um, so when you use the Speak with Plants list, you know, as usual, are infused with understanding. But the plants do not respond to you because you're not 100% sure the plants are alive. They are covered in this ice.
I say hello, but it must be terrible because I don't know how many millennia or even beyond that you've been encased in this ice, but I don't know if you can hear me. And however you exist in time, you probably haven't had a lot of conversation, so perhaps my voice will echo and reach you in some way. Is it possible that we could speak?
And there is silence, and then you hear, you sure that plants can speak through ice, Chief? I don't know a lot about plants. I mean, I know how to eat them, I guess.
The mouse speaks on my shoulder.
Say again?
The mouse is speaking on my shoulder, so many things are possible.
Oh, yeah, but that's because I'm magical to begin with.
New Jersey and
I am a little cold. Listen, if I ever get frozen, all right, don't just leave me there, all right? I want to be unfrozen. Just let me know if that ever happens.
I would never leave you.
All right, so 20 plants by 20 years. So what, I walk along the road, 20 plants, and I'm looking for something that seems like it reflects years.
Reflects years. Okay, why don't you make for me, please, a perception check, Kevin?
12.
12, definitively plants, no doubt about it. You've seen plants before. You don't see anything related to years, though, specifically anyway. Yeah.
Are the figures 20 years apart in age? No.
I mean, you don't obviously know exact ages, but it seems unlikely. The boy is probably more than 20 years younger than the man. The man is probably 20 years younger than, more than 20 years younger than the older man, you would think, just by guessing.
And they're human?
Yes, they all appear to be human.
The small circles that are between plants and also around the outer end, what are those?
So these ones actually are like, they're basically velvet ropes between each. These are actually posts. And they're like, you know, like if you're waiting in line at a bank, there's like a, you know, so those are basically what those are here. These though are lights, basically almost glowing crystalline lights, giving out a bright white light, just like the light coming through the windows.
There's 12 of those.
I believe that's right, yeah.
So,
Not
I
counting
just got a question.
Sure.
Joe. What is the point of this place?
To hold the piece of carbon.
It's like designed, you know, somebody put them plants all around like that, and they put the posts up, then why?
Well, because we've got to give passwords to get the carbon.
He's a professor. So you get tests, and it doesn't all have to be, you know, feasible in the real world. It's an exam of sorts.
Come on, guys, I'm the gym teacher. You guys need to figure it out.
Drop it, give you 10.
No, like, when you saw that fireplace, you think, well, like this. Why does this place look like this?
Exactly like the other place. Lassen's gonna go examine where the crystal was in the other world.
Okay,
In this world.
okay.
What's hanging out there?
So if you go over to the crystal, you can see that too is essentially just it looks like the crystal in the other one, but it too again is covered in ice and is not moving. It does seem to be faintly glowing with its own light. You can see that reflected through the ice on top of it, but otherwise it's just frozen.
Do we use one of the pieces? Because all three of the worlds don't have a piece.
Yeah, but
Crystal and ice.
there's some sort of an elaborate riddle thing set up to all this to be a red herring. Toys
But
are not.
it's a professor doing it.
Is there any resonance?
Make an arcana check.
16.
There feels to be a little bit of that. Remember I mentioned that static electricity when Abram was, you know, coming close to you. You feel a little bit of that here. That's very faint.
The quills already have ink on them, or are there inkwells on the table?
You don't see inkwells, but if you look closely, I would like a perception check from you since you asked me that. So you write 1-5, and it glows for a moment, but then vanishes.
That was 12 past 11 times on the clock, yet 27 seats, not sofa bait. Remove these and 2 star-flanked statues and 2 star-flanked steps. The answer tried. Is that right?
Not quite.
Okay.
27 seats, not sofas, mock, not make. And then remove those and 2 star-flanked statues by 6 flights of steps. The answer try. Again, apologies if I don't
Scroll, was it take nothing or take 0?
In the first one, take 0.
That would mess up.
Take 0 from the chilling way, so it should be, there isn't one here, and we should go to the other two.
I think that this is this, you asked earlier, Leslie, about, I think this is all the same place. This is very complicated magic, and I think this is the same room. But I was just sitting here trying to think how we could find these 20 plants in a different place that might be 20 years away.
Oh, right, because
What's his name from Oxford Little Building, he's the one who said, different space time.
Calixtus is pointing at the,
While everybody else is still talking,
Yeah.
I am just moving based on calculations in my own brain while everybody else is
this is the
obviously
Winona Ryder
talking.
meme of like the numbers. Like, right.
I write 150 instead.
You write 150 instead. On the adult scroll, right?
Mhm.
Again, 150, and then glow, and then vanishes.
Okay, I move to the first scroll.
Okay.
The hand child.
Right?
And I just start writing 1, 2. The numeral will vanish until I get the right number.
All right. I'm trying to think how to. Several minutes pass. But I would say that assuming the party allows you to do that, when you get to the number 40, you write the number 40 on it, and this time it glows, Cadmus, but instead of vanishing, it glows more and more brightly. And then there is a crack, and the scroll comes loose from the desk and leaves behind it a perfectly unrolled scroll-shaped hole on the top. So now there's the scroll open with the glowing 40 on the line that you wrote that you can take up from the desk if you want.
All right, move to the second scroll in the same procedure.
This may take a while, Cadmus.
That wasn't the second scroll?
That was the, yeah, actually, that was the, no, that was the boys. That was the boys' scroll. That was the Western one. This is going to take a while.
Okay, so one of those solving the riddles was going to take a while too.
Well,
Probably a longer one.
it's up to the rest of the party also, as Cadmus begins to write 1, 2.
Since Cadmus has moved to the adult, I will move to the old man and write 10.
When you write 10, it glows and stays, and again, crack, and that scroll comes. I like the idea of the way that you do that, as Cadmus is like 8,
I'm
9.
I'm actually processing high level math in my brain. Cadmus is just, okay, that didn't work.
Like I said, I'm a good teacher.
No, it did work.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So you now have 2 scrolls, one that says 40, one with the young boy's scroll, one which is the old man's scroll, and Cadmus is now up to like 20 on the adult's scroll in the middle.
I want to look at the clock in the room.
Okay?
It does say 12 past 11, doesn't
Yes.
it?
And some change.
12 past 11 or 11 past 12?
It says 12 past 11.
Oh, okay.
And so it's the 6 steps.
Does 28 work on the middle one?
28 glows and then disappears. I'm wondering, don't tell me what it is yet. Has anyone calculated things in their head for the middle one?
I would need to hear it again because
All right, I'm going to do one more time.
I solved the first one and the second and the
The
third
second
one
one?
like 10 minutes ago.
I know. Wait, are you going to outrace Cadmus, who's up to 30, is the question. Although, is this just basically like reps for you, Cadmus, with the gym? 30, 31, 32. Okay, so it's 12 past 11 times on the clock, yet 27 seats, not sofas, mock. Remove those, and 2 2 star-flanked statues by 6 flights of steps? The answer, try.
Times 12, which is 120.
So,
Minus
you're
27.
rolling 12
Every time I look over and I see Calixon again doing this, like this, I think.
10.
I have minus 26 when you release the paper.
You read what?
Minus 26.
It glows and vanishes. Cadmus is like 40, and then
So,
Yeah, when you've got the actual answer, then
so
that's fine.
at the moment, the first part is 11 times 12. But then,
How many sofas was it?
Because it's 12 past 11, which 11 plus 12 is 20.
What'd you say?
How many sofas was it?
12.
It says 27 seats, not sofas. Mock.
What was the first line one more time?
First line was 12 past 11 times on the clock.
I don't know.
What'd you say?
I don't know which major, whatever.
I'm curious about how to address
It's the
first
final part.
audience. I tell you what, I will give, Cadmus is up to 50. I will ask the party if they would like the assistance of our esteemed audience in this matter.
I feel like a
Can
place
we-
that exists in many places, and then somewhere Fury Fire is also in this room.
Yes.
In the infinite.
No, absolutely. I mean, these people are all in the multiverse also. But Calixon is out of Revelation.
Collection writes number 618 on the sheet of paper.
It glows and disappears. 60, Cadmus hits. So I don't want to take it away from the party. I don't want to take it away from the party, but I do want to ask if they want assistance or not.
Sure.
So that has to be
So,
If the fabric of the universe.
Dorian says, Chief, I heard this voice, and it said 93. Tell him to write 93.
Okay.
It's got to be it.
I feel like.
Do you say 93 after 60? 60. 93. When you write 93, the scroll glows. The dungeon master stepping out congratulates you because you're right. And then the scroll
93.
pops out. So you now have a scroll that came from the boys, scroll came from the adults, and the scroll that came from the old man's.
Are these scrolls now blank?
No, they still have what they say on them. Sorry, what did you do?
Who wants to open these rolls?
No, they're unrolled already.
Okay. Oh, wrong.
And they're still like frozen. They look exactly like the hole that they came from.
I did the first two right.
Are they readable?
Say again?
Readable?
Yep.
We read them? They had.
They said what they said with that hole.
Yeah.
All right, looking at the crystals, is there like a place to put scrolls, like spaces or slots or anything?
The only thing that can hold something like this are the empty slots that are sitting on the 3 desks, which are the same shape.
I mean, check the scrolls out.
That words didn't matter.
I take the one that says 63 and I put it in the old man slot.
You mean 93?
93, yes.
You put it in the old man slot and it and then just stays there, but it sinks in.
Okay, so I think the 10 one and put the boy.
The other one again?
40. I take the other one.
In the empty one.
That's how I figured it out.
And when that last one places, the ice around each figure begins to sizzle and steam and then melt, and water begins to drip off each figure. And after about a minute, each figure is free from the ice, and they all stand up, and as one they say, "Thank you. We were trapped," the young boy says. "Imprisoned," the adult says. "Locked down," the old man says, slightly wavering. "We didn't know if we would escape. Get out. Be free." types, you get the idea. They tell you in this tripart way that their name is Mopsix, and they are responsible for protecting the peace of the cosmographer. They also tell you that they had fulfilled their duty faithfully until some force entered this world, froze them in place, and split us into 3, 2 plus 1, 6 minus 3 aspects of the same person, individual, creature. And they explained that although they could not be killed, they could be held in this state indefinitely. The one who told us to do this had a fell voice, a terrible sound, an awful shout. And they demanded the cosmographer. The cosmographer. The cosmographer. Stay a while and listen. I had to go. I'm sorry. I had to.
So is it gone?
No. No. No.
Well, that's good, because we need it.
Marcel talks so much when he's just one person only.
We are sorry. Apologetic. Deeply troubled.
Yeah, you do spells, like, you got something that can put it back together.
Unite 3-part spell. Go.
I cast Voltron.
So the doctor is still here?
Yes.
Okay, we need it.
Affirmative. Certainly.
We need it.
But we must have the crystal, the piece, the item.
This one?
And they all sort of like stop. Now there's a moment where when you hold this up, the light sparkles off of it, and they all sort of take a deep breath, and they say, the auction, the auction. They sold to the one of the crystal. They look at you and then they nod, and the 3 parts of them walk over to the crystal on the southern side of the room, and they intone several odd words. Mus, nolis, azalo, and psh, this piece of crystal flakes off from the big crystal, and they catch a piece of the crystal, and they bring it over to you, and as it gets close to you, Lassen, it suddenly and sticks directly to the crystal, the other piece. So there's now 2 pieces, almost like flakes of metal on a magnet.
Ew, very shiny. I agree.
Okay, do they know which of the other worlds the third piece is in?
There would be one of them left there, somewhere, in the worlds of... And the middle one says, Laminos, Arcanos. We, the 3 of us, all of us together, can send you, all of you, all you need is something.
You just go ahead and send us the man who's talking already.
So they can send you where you would like to go, basically.
But they don't know where the third piece is.
They do not.
Okay. Well, what do you think? Magic or fire?
I think it stands to reason that if one element got us here, the other element got us out of here.
Fire?
All right.
But before we go, I don't know if it crosses you, that was cool when you read the fire on the ice part. I don't know if there's still some icy stuff that you can.
Yeah, is the rest of the room still covered in ice?
Who cares? We got one.
I just thought it was really cool when you blasted the fire on the ice room and it reflected off all the ice surfaces and all.
Yeah.
It was pretty neat.
Whoever put, and I actually want to mention that, listen, whoever put this ice on there was immensely powerful to stand up to the mighty scorching ray that you sent out.
Yeah, this is valuable information. I want to see a thing before I leave.
Okay?
We're very cold, so make it quick.
That's true.
Well, I want to see 2 things. One, the clock. The second hand is not moving at all.
No, and the pendulum here is frozen in place.
I want to essentially
There is an enormous amount, not surprisingly, of magic in this room. But one thing you can tell, Clemson, is that the magic is disrupted. Imagine if you were looking at a river, and then something was thrown into the center of this river that moved a certain way, and so now there were swirls coming up from where the rock was thrown. The swirls continue, even though you don't really know what that means. But there's disruption here, magically, for sure. But not in any one particular spot. Like, it's not like that plant or whatever. It's just, yeah.
Let's go to the world of fire.
Yeah,
Fire?
something's broken here, but hopefully we'll find out more about what that means when we get to the next place.
Okay. If the players are good for the world of fire, pause and reset. First of all, you're watching D&D with writers. I hope folks are enjoying it so far. If you like this, I do want you to, first of all, thank you for continuing to watch. Also, hi to my folks on Twitch. I hope you're enjoying it also. And I do want to do one quick shout out to the puzzle people who tested it. And that's because some of these people know them. Trent Sparks and Jen Brozek and John Helfers were my 3 testers for this. So to the extent that you liked the puzzle or didn't, it's their fault. They did a wonderful job though in testing it. So, all right, on we go. So you travel to the world of fire, and when you were brought here, again, in the line flashing. Okay. When you come to this room, again, this room looks very similar to the ones that just departed. There is again a portal to the north. There is again a clock looming above us. There are again statues standing silent watch on either side of the room. And again to the south is a glowing crystal, although here the crystal is glowing a kind of greenish light. But there are differences. Number one, this pendulum seems to have melted into the face of the wall. Like it's just sort of like, you can almost see little bits dripping from it. Secondly, everything here is shimmering in waves of hot air. The statues themselves are made of red crystal, and you can feel heat even radiating off the floor that you're standing on. The other thing to note is that the windows along the sides of the room are tinted red. They are putting out shimmering red light, and the plants along the walls here sport dark green leaves and bright red berries. Now you'll be happy to know that none of you are going to roast or boil to death, again because of Mott's magic. The characters are going to roast, but it still feels incredibly, almost overwhelmingly hot. You do no longer suffer -3 to dexterity checks. You will, however, suffer -3 to all constitution-based checks and saving throws in this place. Not that those are likely to happen in a place of fire. Okay. The gate here is halfway open, and you can see carpet, 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 and then you can see the crystal, as I said, growing a dark, intense green. And the room seems to be deserted. There are no 3 figures sitting at desks or anything like that.
If Lassen strips down to his rainbow leotard, is that going to help negative constitution check?
No, but it'll certainly give positives to your charisma. So.
Okay, good. He still has his performance leotard on.
Okay, good.
All right, advance into the room and towards the crystal, and see what I see as I go.
Okay. When you, let's see, I would like you to make a perception check for me, Cadmus, please.
All right. Oh, natural 20.
Cadmus, as you are walking confidently towards this half-open gate, you suddenly feel waves of heat coming, particularly from directly in front of you.
Okay. Is that it? All you can tell me?
I'm just telling you that's what you feel as you're walking
Does it
towards the
feel
gate.
like does it feel dangerous?
I mean, it feels super hot.
All right. Instead of putting my hand on is there enough place for me to squeeze through without touching it?
Yes, that's true.
Okay, then I squeeze through without touching it.
When you squeeze through without touching it, you step onto this carpet.
Okay.
It may not be a carpet, because as you step onto it, suddenly the surface ripples, and you all, the rest of you, hear as Cadmus sinks into boiling hot so for this I'm going to roll. Now this die that I have here was taken from the mid-1980s red box, and it still has the original crayon I used when I colored it in. I'm going to roll it a few times, just don't mind me. All right, you are going to take 17 points of fire damage as you sink into this lava. Now I do want to ask, because I didn't ask before, Cadmus, what was your hit point total going into this?
It was, let's see, I have a total of, total of 53 minus 6 going in, so minus 6 is
47 minus 17?
minus 17.
All right, so you're sitting at 30 out of 53. So you are now, you will watch as Cadmus is now in this boiling hot.
Little help?
How, what do you want to do?
Can I extend my pipe so they can grab the
You could try to do that. You better hurry because the pipe looks like it's superheating.
All right, well, pull me out magically, or physically, however you did.
Alright, Lassen will put on his little gloves and pull.
Okay, before you do that, go ahead, Liz.
Can a mage, I'm learning. Can a mage hand be like really strong or is that more?
Sadly, unless Cadmus was 5 pounds, no. It can only carry something that's 5 pounds strength.
But it can't hurt. Like you.
It could snap for you.
Oh, yeah. I would like you to make a Constitution saving throw for me, Les, as you grab the pipe, which is indeed superheating.
An advantage for the snaps.
Say again?
An advantage for the
An
snaps.
advantage for the
I
snap.
didn't know why it's just climbing out. It's like, oh,
Dragonborn, you're big and tough. Grab the back of my leotard and help. Do the help action.
I do.
Look at it.
Then in that case, I will give you advantage on this Constitution saving throw.
A 15 and a 15.
So that's a 12 or a 12. That is enough. What it means is that you're going to take a total of, you only take 2 points of damage, but the big thing about the saving throw is that you don't let it go. So you're still holding on to the pipe. Lassen, what was your hit point total before?
My what?
Your hit point total before?
It is 39.
39. So it's now 37. Where's that? Is that counting the 2 that I just took off?
It is now 37.
Okay, so 37. Great. Okay, so now I need you to make a strength check. And/or an athletics check as you have that.
I have so many athletics.
All right. You look.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry, I got confused with my acrobatics, which is really what I do. Is any of this acrobatically helping?
Don't think you can backflip Cadmus out of the rock, no.
Dang it. In that case, just a 10.
Okay. 10.
I'm a little mad.
Someone could try to also grab the pike. They will need to make the Constitution saving throw in the same way to hold on with.
Come on, team.
I will.
Okay. As a dragonborn, try to.
I'm silver.
Okay. So you'll still need to make the Constitution saving throw.
Yeah.
And you'll be doing it at that
What's
minus 3.
happening in the other world? It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool me down.
Why is the lava in the ice
Have
room?
to be
in the ice?
fire.
I know. Always fighting last war. I know. Okay, so what that means is that you are going to take 2 points of damage and unfortunately cannot hold on to the pike. Now, Cadmus, at this point, you can try to pull yourself, also do a strength check to try to pull yourself out if you wish. You don't need to make a con saving throw because you're already dead, so.
Why you got this? What?
Yeah, it's, was the twin strength check, right?
Yes.
It is.
Or athletics, I would take too.
It's well over 20.
It's well over 20. Enough. So the check was enough. Is what you're telling me.
So you guys have to stay off the cart.
Yeah. Lava's very motivating, apparently. So you pull yourself out, and then you kind of are in a need to stop, drop, and roll situation, Cadmus, as your cloak and multiple parts of your body, clothing is on fire.
Right.
So if you sort of roll around, I don't know if you do, I mean, try to extinguish yourself.
Sure.
You can do it without too much difficulty, but you do take another 3 points of damage, but then the fire is out.
Can the mage hand help?
With snaps or like padding?
Like padding?
I would say that it probably helps put it out, helps finish it. Yeah, sure. Finish putting it out, for sure. How many hit points did you have, Blitzen, by the way?
I had 37.
37. So that's not counting the two that you lost.
Oh,
right?
yeah, not counting two lines. So
Awesome. Okay. All right. So now he is on the ground. He is put out, and he is to, I would say, sort of like just here, like you pull him back out this way.
So to be sure, just that red carpet is lava, or is the whole ground lava?
I really intended to talk about how the floor is lava. It appears that, I mean, you don't know about this, but the heat is radiating in particular in this red area, yes.
I want to see something.
Okay?
I'm going to use my breath weapon on the floor.
Okay.
So I just breathe cold air against the floor. I want to see what happens.
For a moment, frost sort of freezes over the top, but you can see steam coming up from it.
Is it still presently solid?
It does feel solid, yes.
I do as much of it as possible to get us to the edge of that thing right there.
Which way?
All the way forward.
Like, oh, here?
Yeah.
Okay. So in this one, you're going to have to basically heroically leap onto this sort of bench, sort of slash desk counter. Really, that's what you want to do.
Yeah. Let's wait.
I would love an athletics.
Hey.
Okay, you don't have that strength.
Calixin, right?
As Calixin rushes down, you hear a bum, 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 bum.
I can give you a
Because it is Chariots of Fire.
This is going to be tragic, y'all. Calixin is a bookworm. We had Cadmus doing all the math, and we're going to have Calixin do all the actual physical work. 19.
Pretty good. So you get to the edge, and then you leap just as and the ice cracks. But you manage to leap up onto the counter, and you're now here. Your compatriots are back here, and you are now here.
I am going to breathe as much ice as I can to fill the space ahead of me now so they can just walk across.
Like here.
Yeah.
Okay. You can do that. That means the rest of you can also cross. I will need either strength or athletic checks from all of you, but it'll be easier than the one that Clixon had to do. But you might want to move quickly if this is how you do it.
What about acrobatics?
Acrobatics won't help. I can't flip over it.
You sure?
I'll come back to the one.
Oh, man.
Alright, I'll be sure.
Kind of depends on how many of you make it, actually.
Mark.
I'm worried about Dory.
Dorian is quite plenty
If
worried about
I
it.
Try and get him.
fall in the lava,
Hey,
this is
Greg.
my end.
19.
Okay.
The mage hand.
Cadmus, no problem.
I was gonna try.
Yeah.
The mage hand will save Dorian if this is my end.
Okay, I will keep
I
that in
want
mind.
that to be okay.
Can't what about you?
So my strength is 13 and I rolled a 9.
So plus, okay, so we're looking at a 10, roughly, because I think it should be +1.
Yeah.
Okay, that's enough, just. Cadmus clears it easily. Can's like, not as easy, right? We'll talk about Lassen in a minute. Whis.
I'm not affected by the fire on this one, right? That's just the Constitution?
Yeah, you don't have to make a constitution yet. It depends on whether
This
you.
doesn't have the minus 3, so.
No.
Okay, so 16 on athletics.
Yeah, no problem. You're able to make that up with no problem. Everyone makes it up, and then, I don't know, Lassen, like, is it a dramatic flip? Is it a Cirque du Soleil gone wrong? Like, what? Explain to me why Lassen doesn't quite get to the.
It's because he doesn't flip.
Oh,
Like,
because he didn't.
I better be careful.
Right, he didn't live his truth, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
So Lassen, you're like, and the ice. Now I need you to make a Constitution saving throw as you slip into the lava.
No. Are we trash talking each other in thieves' cant? And it's athletics, you said?
No,
All right, yeah. We can't let him die.
So I guess
He has the crystal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Lassen, you're going to take 7 points of damage as you and your sacred to the fabric of the universe crystal gradually begins to slip below the level.
That's like me holding it up.
I will extend it. I will extend the time to you to pull you out.
Okay, so because you're standing in a much more secure place, Cadmus, you actually will get advantage on this, but I do need a strength check from you or athletics.
Let's see, first was 15, second was 17, 17 plus 7 is 24.
Okay, yeah, I think you're able to pull Lassen out. And Lassen, because you come out very quickly, actually, you don't get set on fire, so you were pulled out just that way. All right, so you're now sitting up, all of you on this nest. The hospital.
Is there anything on the other nests behind us?
Being over here and
Yeah.
here. Does not appear to be.
No humans on fire with scrolls of paper in front of them.
If you need it, it's here.
30 humans by 30.
Okay, so other than the color of the room, the overwhelming heat, and the fact that the flowers or the plants are a different color, is there anything obviously different about this room?
Well, the carpet being lava is a big part of that. And the, again, red crystal, the pendulum melted, but other than the sort of effects of heat, it doesn't look to be, although the crystal is glowing a very bright green.
And we have green leaves on the plants.
Yes.
I don't want to put you in any more danger, but would you be willing to see if your device
Yes.
makes auctioneer sounds?
This time I'm gonna flip.
This time you're going to flip? Okay.
Flipping over to the green crystal to see if we have resonance.
Okay, so just to be clear, so we know what we're doing, because you're flipping up here, you're going to flip over this lava here. I would love an acrobatics check. Acrobatics. though.
Acrobatics,
Yeah.
plus 10.
This, you were born for this.
I was born for this. 17.
Yeah. So you're able to, right, land easily. And you'll be happy to know that the stairs are not lava. So when you climb up on the railing, you get close to the crystal. But then I would like the four of you, please, to make perception checks for me. Not Lassen. Lassen, the crystal is in front of you. It's right there. Say you were wide awake. Lava. Like,
I did get this in the dealer's room today.
very nice, very nice. Okay, what did everyone else get? Sorry, natural. Sorry? 6. Perhaps not as focused, Ken.
It's just right, this is what it is, right? 8.
18. 18, okay. Calixin and unquestionably Cadmus, as you are watching this brilliant move from Lassen, they flip double and all this stuff, and land, and he looks up at the crystal, and you hear this cracking from behind you.
Look over my shoulder.
Same.
As you look over your shoulder, this statue, like shards of red crystal falling from it, on the floor, and then draws forth a massive, sharpened, pointy, super dangerous looking crystal. I'd like initiative rolls, please.
Not these statues again.
Initiative! Yay! Everyone is like, I remember when puzzles were fun. Richard, you used them up,
I would just put that guy down so what do you know?
I also rolled a 20.
I just got
You got a 22?
Yes.
Emily.
All right, let's see. So, all right, Lassie, what did you have?
Oh, 14.
14. Cadmus, you had.
A natural 20 with initiative is based on dex, right?
Yep.
So with 21.
21, great. Lacey? 9, okay. Cleason, what's your raw dex score?
My raw dex. Oh, it's +2, so it's 11. My raw dex score is 14.
11, outstanding. Okay. And whist, please.
Do you add the dexterity?
Yeah.
Then 24.
24, wow. And Ken.
13.
13.
Plus 3 to dexterity.
Okay. All and we're going to start with Wisp. This thing is coming down, red crystal, and you can see waves of heat coming off of it, Wisp, as it stalks towards all of you.
Oh my, well, I'm worried about Dorian.
You should be, Chief.
Okay.
It's a big statue.
Sometimes I worry you're missing the big picture.
He's my friend.
Yeah, but like all reality.
Yes, that's important as well. But what's reality? You don't have friends. So, I need to, I want to find a Silhouette that's right there, and I think I need to fight it, because it's not going, I don't think I can talk to the fireman, right? I just have to, I mean, I have to make this decision, right? Does it take like a turn if I just like go, don't attack us, or does that?
I mean, you can say something quickly,
Okay,
but if you're trying to actually persuade it, that would be an action. You'd be taking your action to do that.
Oh.
If you're trying to, or I guess intimidate it, like stand down. You like,
No,
you could try to-
I can be intimidating, but not to a giant fireman.
It's probably not
Yeah,
like
no, so I will try to persuade it.
Okay. All right. What do you say?
I say, we are here to pass the test set forth by the professor. If, I don't want any of my friends to get hurt, but we have to pass the test for all of existence. So therefore, there are two things that could happen. We have to destroy you, which I don't want to do, or you could just
This
stop.
is being said in 6 second quiz, just so you know.
Yes, well, it's also we're also in a place of infinite space and time.
This place, though, is not Luminous, remember.
The man in 3 parts had a lot to say. And
That's
so,
true, but it wasn't
okay,
Luminous.
in 6 seconds, I say, this is going to happen one of 2 ways. We have to destroy you because we have no other choice, or you can stop and let us go to the arcane world.
There you go.
How you feeling?
Make a persuasion check for me, please.
13?
And then you'd add your charisma to it, probably. Unless you have that skill set.
Persuasion, yeah, so it's 21. No,
21?
22, sorry.
So 9, so 22.
I know about math, but no, it's yeah. So it's 13 plus 9.
Okay. So it goes. Apparently, is not of the persuasive variety. It may not even hear you.
And I can't attack right, because I already did it.
Right, but you can move if you wish.
Yeah, I mean-
right. Again, I apologize that I came to the battle map because again I'm on the internet, but the statue is moving here. You are all basically here except for Lassen, who is like looking at the crystal. But all the rest of you are basically wherever you want to be up on these desks. And this thing is coming towards you, so you could move away
I'm
from
moving
it
as
if you wish.
far without, I'm not going in the wall.
Right.
I'm moving as far away as I can with Dorian, comforting him.
Okay.
But not in the hall.
It seems to be squeaking this,
Yeah.
Is it coming towards us or is it coming towards Blast?
It's coming, it's coming down the aisle, so it may be coming towards Lassen. You'll know more when it actually goes on its turn, Camus, but it's moving in the direction of, it might be towards Lassen, it's moving towards
Okay,
you.
let me know when it's fine.
Okay, next up is going to be you. You're up, Camus.
Okay, I'm going to bar its path. We're
Okay.
going to fight it ready, and I'm going to say, what's the name of our professor?
Thaddeus Clariton.
I'm going to say Thaddeus Clariton, and then I'm going to say the sequence of 3 numbers built from the other side.
Okay, so 10, 40, and 93. Yeah.
Okay.
So you say that, and it goes. Since you just said a bunch of numbers, I will make you persuaded. So it depends. Do you wish to attack it, or because it is?
Well, I'm barring his path. Is it going to march right through me?
So as of right now, I'm sorry, not the right one, the left one. I apologize. I mirrored you. I'm sorry. You were here, not there. This one is coming this way. So, Cadmus, if you want to bar it, you would have to basically. It's not a difficult check. Jump over the lava here, okay?
Yeah.
And then you could bar it as it comes, and then it's going to walk right through you unless you either attack or like hold your ground.
All right.
Gandalf, you shall not.
So I need a jump check?
Yes, so you need to make, then that would be your move, basically. So an athletics check or strength would do.
Okay, it's 15 plus 7, 22.
That's no problem. You're able to jump over it.
All right, and then if it's going to keep coming, I'm going to attack it.
Okay.
In another part of the multiverse,
ting off of this crystalline thing, and as it does that, you can actually feel waves of heat coming from it. It occurs to you, standing where you are, Cadmus, that it's a good thing you had a pike, because any closer and you think you might actually be damaging it.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but unfortunately you did not damage it. You've already done your move, you're standing in front of it, we'll see what happens when it decides to move. That is going to lead us down to, Lassen is up next.
I'm gonna throw 2 daggers.
Okay, go ahead and make your attacks then.
17
Will hit,
and 15.
will also hit.
10 damage and 9 damage.
Okay, stink, stink. Okay, both of it hits, and it sort of like kind of backwards and then, but you definitely you stung it for sure. Total of how much did we say damage? Just
19 damage.
19. Okay, yep. So it continues to come, but that got its attention. And you threw it from a distance, so it's still coming towards you. Okay, are you going to stay where you are, Lesson?
I'm over by the magic.
So you're on this side and the thing is coming this way. Although Cadmus is standing in front of it.
I'll stay over there.
Okay. All right. That is going to lead us up next to Can-Can is up next.
I'm gonna use sneak attack with my crossbow.
Okay. You can do that because Cadmus is engaged with it in combat. So go ahead and attack.
13.
13 is
Do I
not.
need to add anything to that?
Well, I think since you're doing this at the advantage, right? Because you're doing sneak attack, so you get to roll that again. Sadly, that's not going to work. Although, did you roll a 13 straight, or did you roll 13 because you would add your dex?
I did not add my dex.
Oh, okay.
So that would be 16.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yep. Which means you get to do your damage plus sneak attack damage, which basically means just 1 billion damage. No, not exactly, but sneak attack is a lot.
For daggers.
It's a 3d6, right? For crossbow.
Yeah, no.
5.
Okay.
And then plus 6.
It's 11. Plus
And then
another
another
3d6.
12.
It's your crossbow damage.
Right. And then you're counting your sneak attack damage, right?
And
Which would be, I think, another 2d6, I want to say.
so I do 5.
Say again.
Do I do 5 rolls?
Yep.
13.
Yep.
19.
Another 19 damage. Okay. All right. So it again, like gets hit by it, but its singular focus seems to be on Lassen, and maybe Cadmus that's about to walk over. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Are you going to move anywhere, Can-Can?
I'm going to take a step back.
Okay. You do that, and Calixin, you are up.
Right, so
It's now about here. Cadmus is here facing it, and I would say you're maybe up here, but you could easily walk down and get to it.
cool.
You're
But where I
standing
am is already 60 feet away from it.
less than that, probably more like 20, 25 feet.
Cool. I am going to Ray of Frost.
Okay. So, I believe we're talking ranged magical attack.
Yeah, spell attack. He's 16 more. Jesus Christ. Nope. That's 11.
I've good news for you. You can re-roll that because you are using this on a creature of fire. So you can roll it again.
Cool. 21.
Yep. Absolutely.
So that's
All right.
2d8.
No, it's not. It's 4d8 because you are using a ray of frost on this creature.
Okay, I'm glad to know I get to do wickedness to other elemental creatures now.
It just had to be in the right world. It's just, it's dragonborn in moments, that's all.
They have advantage and double damage. Nice.
55 damage. No.
So it's not under the let me roll all the things. Okay, I only physically wound
it in the desk as it walks down.
Yeah, but like I want to be like behind it if possible, but I want to stay within its 20 feet.
Gotcha. You can absolutely do that. All right, now the bad guy goes. So, Cadmus, what this thing does, now, it would have marched right over you. Instead, what it does, because it's slowed, is it basically goes, which means it's like this. So now what we need to do is, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, because you are now within, like, face-up range of its body. 19. Okay, that's enough, which means that you do not take damage from its body. However, you are going to take a little bit of damage, just as soon as I can find my other dice. Oh, there they are. You are, however, going to take damage from its attack, because what it does, as it sees that you were there, it goes, or at least it tries to slam your body to the ground. So, we're going to see whether it does that. Let's see, a 19 to hit you.
I'm armor class 20.
And, wow, and an 18 to hit you. Makes 2 attacks and misses both. So, are you dramatically sort of like how is what's the dodge look like?
Just minimal to avoid it.
Just sort of like,
Yeah, all right.
these are the gym teacher reps that you've been doing. All right, so it misses you twice,
What
which is
happens
good.
when you don't skip leg day?
Yeah. That brings us up to the top of the round and whizzes up.
So, I can throw 2 daggers, right?
You're not a rogue, right? So I don't know if you have.
I have to.
No, you wouldn't be able to do 2. They can throw 2 because they have proficiency. You can throw 1, I believe, yeah. Which would be a dex attack. So you'd be rolling d20 plus 2 if you're proficient with it probably. So d20 and then your proficiency would be 3. So it should be, I think, d20 plus 3 plus your dex bonus, whatever that is.
Oh, to see if it hits.
Right.
13 plus 4, 17.
That will hit. Yep.
And I just messaged someone in Ferndale to find out if my D4 is there, but I'll hack it with this thing because I know how to do that. So,
Literally someone in Ferndale. They
Yes.
rolled a d4 in Ferndale and say, here's what you got.
I could do that,
Okay.
Would you like to?
I mean, this is a multiverse adventure, like, no, but anyway.
So, yeah, so I just roll this a D4
And then add your dex bonus to that.
So this would be 2. 1, 2, 3, yeah. 2 plus 1 is 3.
Okay. So it pings a little bit of crystal off of it, and Dorian's like, that's it, Chief, you got it. You can do it. Okay.
Can you use a little bit of crystal?
All right. Are you moving anywhere?
I'm still a ways back, so.
Yeah. So you're like good and like staying.
I would have gone up with my weapon, but I didn't want to get Dorian close. So.
One bit of bad news is that dagger, when it hits, I mentioned that there's crystal that flakes off, it hits the body, and then the dagger goes like melts in its body. No more dagger. At least not that dagger. Okay. Cadmus, you are up next, and you are up close and personal with this
Okay,
thing.
I'm going to take my bonus action on second wind,
Okay.
which will give me back 11 points.
Excellent.
And I'm going to fall back, so I'm not in the heat aura anymore.
Okay. Back up from it.
And once again, I'm going to be, if it continues to advance on me, I'm going to be jabbing at it with a pipe. I'm going to yell back, Alaskan would help a lot if you could get the thing out.
Yeah.
Go ahead and make your attack in Cadmus, because it is like going to be heading towards you.
All right. 20.
Yeah. Not natural, just regular.
Just for a regular.
Okay. That will still hit them.
Okay, and let's see if I could. I'm at 10 plus 4. 17 plus 4 is 21.
21. A powerful blow. You hit it, a massive piece of crystal falls off. Now, the weapon does not melt, but it is starting to heat rapidly. So you can pull it clear, but you're kind of starting to wonder a little bit how long the weapon's going to hold up. However, you have unquestionably been damaging it. So, okay, you fell back, you did that. That was the move, which leads us to next up is, I believe, Lassen. would you like to try? What do you want to do?
I'll go to it with my double crystal
Okay.
super magic.
Yeah, super magic. Make an Arcana check, please. For me.
Is something happening? Natural 1.
As you hold it close, you're like, it's a crystal for sure. No effect. Sorry. Alas said, but since you were right there, you were standing next to it. Do you want to stay standing next to it? You could move away from it. You could stay where you are. You
How
could.
far away is the thing?
It's here. The thing now is about here, as Cadmus is like, you shall not pass, about midway down here. So while everyone else is throwing daggers or bolts, and you see that Calixin is kind of sidestepping along the desk and breathing on it as it goes.
Gotcha. I'll even stay here because I can still throw daggers or try and figure out this thing again next turn.
Makes sense.
I still think that the fact that there are green lilies and a green crystal, and then green medicine is good for a long time.
Yes.
Okay, that leads us to King King.
Can I do speak attack again?
You can just sneak attack again. It is still engaged with Cadmus.
So I'm going to target the area where that big chunk of crystal fell off,
Lovely.
and I'm going to use a crossbow.
Okay, I'll let you see.
I can't tell if that is another 9 or a 6. It's a 6.
You can roll that again. Remember that it's sneak attack in this case against this thing.
And it's a 1!
Okay.
Yeah.
It unfortunately misses. Sorry.
I'm going to take a step back.
Are you going to stay where you are though?
I'm going to take a step back.
And hope that nobody saw that.
Yeah.
The roads are definitely.
The road ain't broken right now.
We're trash tracking each other in Thieves' Camp now because we both are little.
We're like, neither one of us. Okay. That is going to lead us to Calypso.
That's another ray of frost.
I imagine it would be. Go ahead and make a ranged magic attack on this thing.
And my attack is with advantage, right?
Right.
11 and 3 is 14. Miss.
Say again, was one of
11 and 3 is 14.
11 and 3 is 14. That's a miss.
Cool. Yeah, that's me.
Are you gonna? But you're continuing to like move along.
Yeah.
Excited as it does that. Okay. It comes up again. It is going to be right up in your face once again, Cadmus. I need another Constitution saving throw from you. You have definitely heard a lot, by the way.
20.
Okay. Again, Cadmus. Check out these games. Okay. And now it is going to attempt to. It is one of two things it could do. Is it going to go after Cadmus or something even worse? I think it's going to try for Cadmus again. It's going to attempt to slam you twice, Cadmus. The first time is a 20, not natural.
Well, that is.
Second time is a 17. So the second one misses. The first one, though, picks you up and slams you down. Now, as you are picked up, it is if you are picked up by lava itself. You take from being picked up at all 10 points of damage, and then another, as you are slammed to the ground, another 20 points of damage as you are slammed to the ground.
You don't have a player who could beat you.
Where are you? How much do you have right now?
I've got 45, taking 45 points out of
53
total.
So he has 8 points left.
Jesus.
He's on the ground. Also, you're prone, in case I didn't mention that. You do have the kite up, though, where you're kind of like, and you notice, by the way, Calixin as well and Cadmus both, that the frost seems to be wearing off it. So it kind of steps over you, but doesn't go much beyond you, Cadmus. So you're now underneath it, sort of like. And no, it's a crystal statue. There's nothing anatomically correct that he sees at all. All right. That brings us to the top of the round with Whist again.
It's really lost. I can't get close to it. Is that
No, that's tough. It would be
Thanks. That's true.
that you could do. That you could do.
I feel a little guilty because I was going to do this earlier, but I got distracted because there was a fire
Yes.
monster. And also you put some like really cool things.
You were going to do a save Cadmus spell?
Yeah, yes, I would like to healing word.
Okay. I love it. So healing word, which I think is 2d8. He said.
I guess I didn't spell.
your modifier, and you are, what, you're a bar, right? So that'd be charisma.
Yes.
So 2d4 plus whatever your charisma modifier is.
You said 4.
She's doing a second.
2d4 and then I add.
Your charisma modifier.
Yeah.
Okay. And is this the, am I doing it at the most that healing I can do? I want to amp it up.
Two, yeah.
Well, if you're, because you're level 6, right? I think you could cast that at a 3rd level slot, so you could do 3d4 if you're going to do that, but it uses up like a 3rd level slot of spell casting. But Cadmus is in kind of a bad way. So,
I'm okay with that.
okay, so then 3d4 plus your modifier. Big numbers, big numbers, big numbers.
Yeah. This is a big moment. It's, I'm sorry, you said it was.
3d4 plus your charisma bonus.
That's the top, right?
Yeah.
So not 9 plus, yes, 6, so 15.
15, all right. Cadmus feeling hale and hearty, though.
I wouldn't have a hard
That's
23, 98.
yeah, mighty. Oh, so. Okay. All right, all good. So good work, Wiz. Are you moving anywhere? Dorian's like, you got this. Good job. Also, you should stay exactly where you are, very far away from the big flame. Stay right there.
I can,
There's no decision. Just don't move. Dorian seems very anxious for you not to move, but that is, of course, Dorian preserving his own life.
Yeah.
is, Lassie going next? Is
Let's see. Next up after you would be Cadmus is next.
Cadmus. Can I do Bardic Inspiration for Cadmus?
If it's a bonus action,
It is.
yes, then you could do Bardic Inspiration for sure.
Do Bardic.
Absolutely.
I don't want to ruin it.
This is a 1d8.
That's right. You will add that. So you can add that to a roll.
Yeah, Cadmus gets to keep that and roll that one every
That's right.
You can use a bonus action.
What's that sound like when you inspire?
Cadmus, you were very buff today. I'm glad that you didn't die in the lava yet, and probably not at all.
Boy, I'm inspired now.
There's a reason that as a bard I'm here and not on like a tour. I got a job at the university.
Are you making a suggestion about university jobs?
Something those who can't do.
Yeah. The statue rises to strength. No, I'm just kidding.
So what is the effect of this?
Yes. So the effect is, so first of all, you were healed. You know about that. Bardic Inspiration also means that you have a 1d8, which you will be able to use on an attack roll or a saving throw or an ability check that you make next. So when you make your next one of those, you can roll the die, and then before I tell you if it hits or not, or does whatever, you can then say, I want to roll an additional 1d8, and that's using inspiration.
But it doesn't, I can't use it for damage.
Not for damage, but for to hit, but not damage. Speaking of you, it's your turn. You are prone at the moment underneath this thing. You can still attack while you're prone, or you could stand up and you'd be like, because like it's literally on top of you, moving this way.
I attack while I'm walking.
I've done it. It's worked well.
I mean, I don't take minuses.
I started down.
I don't take minuses for that.
For doing what? No, not if you're attacking, because you're doing a melee attack and you're right underneath it.
Yeah.
Okay.
From Hell's Heart, you stab it.
Stab those bits.
Some people will really want you to make this attack.
Remove parts of that statue that shouldn't exist.
Say it again.
21.
21 will hit.
Wow.
I should have asked you if you wanted to use your inspiration, but 21 will hit. Yeah.
Alright. Do another, another 10 points of damage.
Okay. It's starting to look exceedingly hurt. You'd be happy to know that since you were prone, you don't take any heat damage from it because you're stabbing up at it like this. So there's a like this, and looks around. Does not, and then is going to continue to move theoretically. I'm not going to ask you if you want to move because I assume you don't want to now stand up after what I just said. So but tell me if I'm wrong. Like, do you want to?
Well,
You could roll, I guess.
If I stand up, I take the heat damage, right? Fine, I'm just to stay prone.
Okay. inside the crystal.
Crystal's
Nothing.
all the way down.
Yeah, it's just exactly. It's crystalception, but nothing else happens. Okay, next up after that, because last night I said you're staying where you are, and like Arcana ain't even hard. I've got this. All the while the sound of the thing coming closer. Okay, next up is Can and Links and Sunday.
So Cadmus is still eliminated.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to sneak attack again
Hey.
at that big old area.
Yes.
That Cadmus knocked out.
Okay.
All right.
Now there were several big old areas. Is there a
The one
particular?
that just along
The
the
shoulder.
that's
Want to
the last
specify
part.
the area? Yes. Okay. Right.
5.
We're gonna get that advantage.
19.
Hey.
Yay!
19
That's
will
my
hit.
best, right?
19 will hit
That's
for sure.
22.
That 22 will 100% hit. Yes. So now you can roll your damage, and don't forget you'll also get the sneak attack damage on top of that.
And this is 5 rolls.
Right.
5,
Yep.
11,
I love it.
15,
Okay.
21,
Okay.
4s.
24.
Oh man, sneak attack. Okay. So your roll, you sight down it, and it strikes, and there's a moment where the creature, you see the bolt go through it, and then it sort of, and then like the crystal sloughs off its body and falls all on Cadmus, who just lying in red crystal. So the creature is definitively destroyed. And Cadmus, you are buried under crystal. I'd like you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Because it's heat.
Anybody?
Oh, that's not good.
Not terrible though.
14 minus 3 is 4, so that's 11.
That is 11. But remember, Cadmus,
Oh, I got my bonus. Yeah, I'll use my bonus.
go ahead and roll 1d8. You have been inspired by the words of Whisk.
Hey.
All right. So instead, you just have this as the words come to you, like you're not dead yet. You think should have been on tour, right? As you're sort of buried, you all sort of see, and then the pike kind of, like a flag shoots up above the red crystal, and you're able to clear yourself off of the heat. You find that you are actually not alone, Cadmus, because lying next to you is a being of some kind. The being is dressed in a dark red cloak and boots, and appears to be unconscious. And as you sort of roll over and see them, it looks like a young version of Mops, or Mopsilian, or Mop 6.
Okay, young is a 10-year-old, young is a 20-year-old.
Maybe late 20s.
Late 20s, okay. And he's unconscious.
Yes. Also has a small crystal around his neck.
So can we take that crystal off?
You could, as he lies unconscious.
If we survive and all of time doesn't get destroyed today, I might consider like recording a record.
That makes sense to me. Sure. A record scratch. Yeah.
So is the crystal hot?
Say again.
Is the crystal hot?
It is, although not painfully. Well, around his neck.
Yeah.
So you would have. Well, are you jumping off the desk and like coming over?
Oh, that's right, there is lava.
Because there's lava there. Also, Cadmus is lying next to
So,
him. Cadmus is going to get a chance next first because he's right next to him. Then I'll let you all decide. So, Cadmus, you're right next to him. Is there anything you want to do?
Well, yeah, try to wake him up.
Okay. How do you want to do that?
Shake him and say, wake up.
Seems reasonable. You sort of, does not wake up.
All
Seems
right.
kind of in a bad way, Cadmus.
Okay.
All right, everybody else can react now based on where you all are. I'll come to you last in a minute. Well, are you still arcanating, or are you now, having seen this, gone over to the bodies of Cadmus and of this man?
Now when I see that there's a crystal involved, yeah, that's what we'll go over there.
Okay, and then Calixin and Whisk.
I'm
could try to calm his emotions. Right now, he's pretty calm.
Yeah.
You could use a little less calm, actually. Uncalm emotions, maybe.
And it probably wouldn't help if I, sing Wake Up Song or something like that.
I mean, it would be.
Can I try it? Just sing a song?
Just sing a song of Wake Up.
Yeah, so-
Certainly.
Sing Evanescence.
I will ask while you're
confidence now.
sing Evanescence. Can't wake up. All right. Are you? Ken, just before you do that, Ken, are you also?
So I couldn't yell at last, what kind of road are you? Take that crystal off his neck.
I'm trying.
Okay.
You go there first.
And I'm also curious, is there anything where that statue was?
No.
Okay.
No, there's not. So Wiz, you're singing.
Hello, you exist in all the places and all the times, but the one that we're in right now would be very convenient for you to be and it's possible that I will continue to sing with this sort of lack of talent if you continue to be unconscious. So it might be in your best interest. This isn't working, so now I'm like, do I have an F? What do I do?
Your bride to an unconscious man is I'll keep singing if you don't wake up.
Confidence issues. What I like to perform. No, I'm starting to look at him. I'm like, I don't think this is going to do it.
As an aside, I'd like to make sure the other statue isn't moving.
Does not seem to be. You could definitely. I mean, you don't even need to perception check. It just seems to be standing there.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So by this point, I would say Lassen and Ken maybe arrive at the same time at the thing.
All right, the crystal.
Okay.
Accepting.
So, what are you going to? What do you want to do?
He's gonna just like tap. They stick to each other like the other ones. No, not working.
I think you got
So-
key or half the details with the big crystal.
Yeah, so the suggestion from my fellow professor here is to use that necklace and put it in some kind of socket or something in the bigger crystal and see if there's any place to like replace it.
So take the necklace off.
Yeah.
Okay. Come back to that.
Without interrupting their test, I would like to arcana the crystal.
Okay. You can do that for sure.
Did I spend too much time singing, or can I heal Candace again?
You can definitely do that.
Okay, I would like to do that with the 2 dice. Yeah.
You can do that.
21 on the arcana.
Okay. You can definitely, as you are doing this, you can sense unquestionably magic radiating from both portions of the crystal. And you're sort of a little bit startled when, as you do that, suddenly the thing is moving towards you, and then you realize it's because Whist has healed the man who is now sitting up and sort of staring at you.
Hi.
There is.
Before you begin, please speak less.
Smile more.
I've been hearing from mopses in multiple dimensions far more than I need to. Just tell us what we need to know so we can go.
And he coughs and brushes crystal from his hair. Well, thank you. I wasn't. Yes, I'll tell you. Who are you? He looks a little disoriented, having just been emerged from a crystal lava creature thing. And he says, I am Apalma, the guardian of Flaminos. But I wasn't intended to guard the world by being that. And he points at the pile of crystal. And he says, I don't even remember how I ended up inside this thing. Why are you here?
The other piece of photographer.
The other piece of it. And then he kind of, his eyes widen, Cadmus, and he says, Cosmographer, yes, there was a voice that said, give me the piece. And I said no, and it said, then torment. And then I remembered heat, and nothing till now. And then he reaches for the crystal around his neck, and he says, yes, it's here, though it feels like someone was pulling at it. It's around.
That could be your Flaminos.
That's that. And he says, then you have been sent here. And he nods and he
We've
says,
already met 2 and 3/3 of you.
and he says, the multiverse is strange. And he stands up and he says, may I? And he sort of reaches out for the necklace crystal.
Oh my God. How about we do it together? We know that you're not gonna do something bad with this.
And he sort of looks down at the pile of crystal and then at this and then at that and then looks back at you.
Hey, just because you were imprisoned inside that bad doesn't mean that you're great.
And he nods and then he snaps his fingers and all of the carpet in the room, lava just, and then
Oh.
That wasn't like a neat trick. I was still like pursuing to hold them together.
and he says, it is all right if you wish to do that. And he kind of walks over unsteadily a bit towards the crystal. You come over towards it, and he intones a few strange words. Kalios Kenmenos Nemenes. And your crystal resonates, his crystal resonates. And the large crystal and a flake of green crystal comes off of it, and, because you're right next to it, like against the necklace. So you now have these 2. And he says, you now have the pieces you need. Though I do not know what they will ask you to do with them. But you must return to Liminos. Avim will know what to do. And he kind of coughs. More crystal falls out of his hair.
What else can we do to help you before we go?
And he kind of leans. He says, stop whatever it is that put me in that thing.
To be sure, you were attacked, yes?
But by what? I don't know. Maybe there was nothing I saw, just a voice in my head.
Well, let's go back to Limos and figure out from there.
What did
Oh,
Douglas say?
yeah. What did you hear in your head?
It said that I must give it the peace, that it was up to me to give what was needed, and I said no. And it said, then torment. And then I remember heat and nothing more.
And do you remember what the voice sounded like?
Dark, cold, loud, lasting. It did not seem to stop.
You're raising evil ones.
I want to investigate this room again to see if I can find anything similar to what we found
Okay.
in.
I think we had you do an Arcana check, right? So
Yeah.
we'll have you do that again.
No, the most interesting rules. It walks all through the maze here.
The result of that roll plus 3 is 5.
Definitely magic in these 10 hills.
Oh God.
You know magic. And it clicks in.
Let's go back to Limos and find out what we do with this thing.
Go ahead, Leslie.
Lassen try an arcane just because it might be hilarious if people totally
Sure, why not?
Yes, please.
18.
So the good news is you do understand that magic is there. The bad news is that as a drow rogue, your knowledge is limited to, God damn, there's magic in this room.
Happening right now.
Now, if you were to listen, yeah, but you do know that the crystal, though, is faintly almost humming. Slightly. Yeah.
I hope this doesn't like give me a cold or sore or something. The world doesn't need me to be anymore now.
Flavonos, is that what you're saying? Yeah, flavonos. Oh, but if you have flavonos for more than 3 hours.
Well, if we're headed to Luminous, we should probably get the show on the road.
I agree.
The multi-dimensional crystals aren't for everyone.
That's right. All right. So you're going back to Livinos, according to what you said. When you come back to Livinos, you walk through the portal, and for a moment, you see the dimly lit world of Livinos. But just as you are stepping out of the portal, there is a bright flash. And suddenly you are yanked away. of a nightmare. Massive skulls stand where statues did in the previous world. A series of round tables are placed on a floor over which swirls green and livid lines, continually curving and shifting. Round tables with various items on them are placed throughout the room. And on 2 tables behind the party are 2 large satyrs, they look like, lying, smiling unpleasantly at you. But of course, the most striking element of the entire room is this window, is the enormous goat's head, which hovers above a pool of green energy, its eyes lit with the same green flame. And as it is staring at you, it says in a deep, jagged voice, "Welcome, the heroes of Hearthglow. Most welcome. It is most strange that after this journey we should meet in this place. It is predictable, of course. It was predictable from the moment a life was unjustly taken a quarter century ago and set into motion these events. But even the most predictable things feel strange when brought to the test."
Are you saying this is our fault?
And he stares at you and he says, "Perhaps say that it is fate's fault and your consequence."
So, give us the head, where's the rest of you and who's speaking?
Is this who I think this is?
He says, "If you are asking where and what I am, the answer is I am within this world in part. I have many names, but you may call me Inordinatio." And he glares at you.
I guess I'm glad if you're in all the world, see, this is the part you chose to put in where we were. That talking part.
Well, there's one thing for sure. You knew quit while he was ahead.
But outside the room comes laughter in spite of applause. No, actually, when they do that, I would say that the skulls kind of chuckle, you know. He says, "As for what I am, a better question is what I am not. I am not structure. I am not regimentation. I am not temporal progression. I am not order."
Yes, so your name's just about time.
And he sort of looks at you and the eyes, well, he's always looking at you, but the eyes flare green, and he makes no response to that.
I'll let the puns continue.
That's good, that's good.
Okay, Inordinatio. Why are we here?
Because we were fated to meet. We see the same thing, you and I.
Do we?
Yeah.
To leave, is that also what you want?
Once our clouds have been met.
Well, we seek to restore and preserve reality. Is that what you see?
And he sort of, there's a moment's pause, and then he says, "Perhaps that is what you, Cadmus Respar, believe you must do. But order is a lie. Consider, a century ago, life was unjustly taken. A century ago, magic was drained. The fabric of the universe was threatened. And every step you or your allies have taken to stabilize the worlds have made it worse. Your Thaddeus Cameriton found an item to bring order to this chaos, what you call the Cosmographer, and used it. Obsidian Avum." And when he says Avum, the eyes flare, and the skull's eyes flare, and the satyrs behind you sort of crack their necks like this. He says, they're sort of like this, yep. And he says, "In his arrogance, calls himself the coordinator of worlds, thought it could be protected, but none of them knew what they had started. They had only begun the process of reordering the worlds. To
You also said that a life was unjustly taken. That guy tried to murder a courtroom full of people.
I speak of the life that he took, the student of Hearthclough Academy. Your justice does nothing to bring that soul back, but my choice would.
You need to catch me up, because this is my first day with this.
Yeah, Hearthflow has a lot of politics going on. It's a long story.
One where, like a student dies type of politics.
So,
Yeah.
if you're able to you're able to summarize, I mean, it's up to you actually if you want to summarize, but it's basically explaining about the student who was unjustly killed and the person who was put on trial for it, who was Vernon Richard. That bastard. And Vernon Richard killed this student and then did all this stuff with the Megirolith and all that other stuff. So that basically brings us up to when the Megirolith and the effects of the Megirolith and trying to stop it are what started the whole fabric of the universe thing unraveled. So he says, as you made your speech as well, he says, yes, happiness. I too seek this. Listen to your Thaddeus Cameriton, and they will tell you that happiness comes from order. They gave you no options, did they? No choice or chance to do something different. What if the real danger is order itself? What if the structure that drives those with power consolidate it, weaken those who wish to rise within it, find justice within it, is corrupted beyond repair? I have considered these questions for countless millennia, and you may be the answer to those questions. You need not bring the cosmographer back to Lemnos, to Mopsidian Avon, and those who wish only to restore the order which give them unjust power. Give the cosmographer to me. Drop it in this pool of energy, and I will consume it, and with it, order itself. The universe will be reassembled, reformed, and each world may have a chance at last for justice and restoration. Think of it. Dynamism, change, instead of stagnation and decay.
Now, wait a minute.
I think you found someone who adapts more than
Oh, absolutely. And you've just been talking to yourself all these millennia, so you haven't workshopped it with somebody else to see what they think. You're totally wrong.
I would like to say to my friends that, I don't know about adventuring, I don't really know about the construction of the multiverses, but I know that when somebody presents as a goat head with skulls and sexy satyrs in a room of skeletons, emo, I'm not inclined to think that's right,
When the universe colors something warming green, it's telling you to not like it or
Here's
trust
the
it.
bottom line as I see it. We set forth basically to preserve our world, the world we know. If we cooperate with you, is that world going to be restored as we remember it, or is it going to be a new thing?
A new thing, a world of difference, where you need not be bound by structures that limit and restrict it.
Is it going to be as green as here?
I'm sorry to hear that.
So we got tenure in the world that is.
Greatest order in the world. Sorry, you were saying.
Here's my real ultimate question. You give us a choice, yeah? That assumes that if we make the decision you don't like, we still get to walk out of here.
And it does not respond to that yet.
Ooh.
It just sort of like the green eyes flare slightly, but it doesn't say anything.
Then I continue. We have been having the worst day ever.
Fair.
There are dumber educators at worse schools who don't have to put up with the wild stuff we have to do on a daily basis and have nothing when I got up, in the world where someday I might have tenure. So I'm gonna assume that if we tell you we don't like how green this room is, we're gonna take this crystal with us and go back home. You're gonna say, I'm disappointed, but I appreciate that you've been honest with us. Portal. So let's test that now. We're leaving.
And he says, what do the rest of you say?
That sounded good to me.
You're with him.
Yeah, I don't rock with disembodied goat head, emo karma.
And in Ordinatio says, you are frightened. You fear what you do not understand.
You fear what you do not understand. Have you died ever?
I am beyond death.
Yeah. We know people that have died. We've been around death. And that's why what you said earlier was nonsense, because our kind of non-disembodied emo goat head, sexy satyr room having janitor taking advantage
I
of.
like that as you go through this, by the way, like each thing flares and turns like skulls. The satyrs are like, like, you know. Like,
The sexy satyrs like hearing themselves much, though.
yeah.
Still on the bench.
They were talking about us.
You know, you don't know about death. We know that in the end, you said that we want the same thing. In the end, we all die. To say that our lives are the same thing because they end the same way, it's offensive.
There's a pause and it says, and you will not comply, and you will allow your knowledge of order and life to drive your decision.
I'm pretty clueless about things, and even I know that it was clear that we said we weren't going to comply. I think it was pretty obvious.
Also, it's a very interesting choice of words, compliance. You know what kind of structure requires compliance? An ordered one.
So the eyes kind of flare and it says, then you will perish. Now, as his eyes flare and the green liquid bubbles below him, a voice says, wait. And looking in the direction of the voice, which is coming from somewhere, at first you're not aware that it echoes around the room, and then you're all standing here. Right behind you, appearing, you see the purple-cloaked figure of Mopsilium Abram. And standing next to him are three versions of Mopsix. And there is also Mapalma, and even Mops, leaning quietly on his broom. And Mopsilium says, this cannot be. You are not permitted here, Avon. Neither are they. I am permitted when a decision must be made, and you know the law. And he turns to you and he says, in Ordinatio has told you that he will give you a choice. That is true. He grants you a choice between chaos and anarchy, or order and justice. Lies, in Ordinatio says. But we also offer you a choice, a decision, an option. Mopalma smiles, the one in the red crystal guy, and says, you must decide what must be done with the cosmographer. And whatever that decision is, there will be consequences. Apparently, you have chosen to preserve it. And if you have chosen to preserve it, you must pass the test and choose which test it is. Succeed, and you will return to Limnos with the cosmographer. We will destroy it, and the fabric of the universe will be restored. Fail, and Ordinatio will get his wish, and the cosmographer will be consumed, and the fabric of the universe along with it. And Ordinatio, the green eyes flare, and he says, you are in my world, and I do not consent. And Mops, janitor Mops, leaning on his broom, says, consent? Consent to the rules laid down for all of us? And the great goat head falls silent, and then says, fine. turns to you and says, because you have gathered the pieces of the cosmographer, the decision of the test is yours. The test of strength or the test of sacrifice. In the first test, physical combat will be the result, and it will be difficult. The second test will not require a battle, but what it will require of you may be even more difficult. Only you can decide what is best. And then the room goes on.
The go-ahead is a creepy test, a creepy choice, not a sacrifice test. I guess I would have expected that the floating go-ahead, it would be like chess or.
So, the question is, the test of strength or the test of sacrifice?
I'm willing to take the test of sacrifice, but I will go with the bigger decides.
I'm kind of tired of lifting things.
My strength score is quite low. I don't know what my sacrifice
Last time
score
she puts
is,
you
but
fight well.
what's style?
My guy always votes for combat.
We have one vote for strength. We have 1, 2, 3 votes for sacrifice. What do you say, Kingpin?
Look, this is just my first day here with these people. I'm gonna get outvoted either way, because they all know each other. I'm just here.
Silence reigns, though, because apparently they want you to choose something.
Now, I'm just curious, because I've been thinking this whole time, those skulls and those satyrs, are they trapped in here? They've been trapped with this fool for millennia, right? How do they feel about all this garbage?
The skulls make no reply, but the satyrs are like,
If y'all are willing to fight, we'll fight. We've been through a lot so far already.
sounds like the vote's leaning towards that, but it depends on, towards sacrifice rather, but it depends on.
And
But I'd still like to hear what Kingpin has to
Yep.
say first.
So, I'm just thinking mechanics wise, because my strength is also low, but I don't know what a sacrifice is.
I walk up to mobs.
Okay, we just,
In the interest of fairness, some of us came here because we had a job to do. This can person over here is here by accident and doesn't deserve to suffer just because we have a job to do.
are you sure it was an accident? And Mops is like,
They literally don't know who we are. They've never heard of Hearthglow before. They just watched that guy almost get eaten by a lava carpet. Tonight has been a lot. Maybe we don't want to watch someone needlessly suffer on our behalf.
Well, let's vote.
That sounds like a sacrifice to me.
There we go.
go ahead, Leslie.
I was just gonna ask what Dorian is doing.
Dorian has been very quiet, and as you're sort of talking, Dorian says, "Whatever you decide, Chief, it's all right. Do it together, So, do I hear a vote of? Roll. Sacrifice, strength. Sacrifice. Did I hear that or no? I'm not trying to put you in any direction, I'm just asking.
You know, I got this coin.
Okay. This is just for your vote, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So good would be from him and from you, right? And evil would be sacrifice.
Okay.
No, it's sacrifice.
Okay. So sacrifice.
That
Sounds
was
like-
been a conflict with Mark yesterday when one character was too fancy.
I was thinking about it. Okay. So in Ordinatio, when you say sacrifice, it says, and you see this.
Oh.
Spotlight shoots down upon you. So, you're divides into 5 separate beams. One on each one of you. First, Inornadio says, each of you must tell us of the most beloved creature in your life. Your partner, your child, your best friend, your pet. Who are they? And why are they important? And first light goes up on Calixto.
In order not to ask the question, and it actually strikes me dumb for a moment. Because I'm like, I haven't had anyone since I got to Hearthglow, and the only person that would count is Calerita. Because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. I wouldn't have the only thing that I have if it wasn't for that. And like, I hesitate to say his name aloud, but then when I say it, I say, if it weren't for the headmaster, I wouldn't be real. I would be afraid all the time, and instead I have something that I can use.
So be it. Light goes down and collects and comes up on Wisp.
I am not strong like many people here, and I am not nimble, and I do not do amazing backflips, and I do not somehow avoid giant lava men crushing me 8 times over, and I do not have cunning and wits, or I do not make extremely cool fire displays and rooms of glass that reflect. But I am a bard, and in my life, which has not always been easy, like most people, the person that, my teacher in the forest, that told me that I could be a bard, that I was good enough, is most precious to me. Though I have made a good friend in Dorian the last few hours.
So be it. The light. Then up on Cave.
How presumptuous of you to assume that I have any. You want to get rid of order? Some of us have plenty of disorder already.
must now vote secretly. I want you to write your answer down on a piece of paper without discussing it with the others. It can be any answer you wish, by the way. We know when everyone's had their vote also. I will take.
Take that poll, mine, you can see it.
Oh, that's fine. Is that a problem? Or-
You want me to, sorry, it's on my stats, but you can kick back, right?
Is it?
Yeah, it's on the other side.
Oh, good. Okay. Sorry. And furthermore, I approve of tenure. I'm going to come to each of you in turn. I will start with Calixon. What did you say?
I would give up Claritin, and so would he.
Okay, that's a vote for Calariton. Next we have, whose vote was this? Sorry, the blank sheet.
I think that's fine.
I think that was you, yeah, okay. All right, who did you choose?
I gotta be honest, for our half second, maybe a minute or two, I thought about annihilating myself. But you know what? I got to thinking, and it seems like a lot of this turmoil, chaos, starts with Hearthstone. So, I'm sorry, y'all, I said Hearthstone.
Vote for Hearthgrove. Cadmus, I think this is yours.
Yeah, I voted for my mentor. He's a warrior born. He lives with the possibility of death every day. He's an old man now.
A vote for Cadmus's mentor. Lassen,
Lassen wrote his own name
his own name.
because he would rather give up his own life than any of the other options.
And last Whist.
He's breaking the rules.
Breaking the rules.
I refuse, and I understand that may cause all of our deaths and the destruction of these worlds, but I will not participate. I will not be part of the song that leads to a world born of cruelty, and I will not vote. And I will accept the result of that. Yeah, Liz.
That means we have a tie. Everyone had a chance to vote. Now, I'm very unsure whether to do this, but I will take this as a possibly informational, possibly more than that vote. If the audience was voting who to sacrifice, who would it be?
What's the Dave?
You want? I'm sorry. You want?
What's the Dave's name of the guy that told us? Guy that
In
told them?
Ordinatio.
Yeah, him.
Others? Say again.
Are we voting based on the tie? What's the tie?
You're voting actually. It actually can't be in order on you because it's what they did. Like you're voting. Let me ask you this. I'm going to ask it this way. Do you wish to break the tie or not? So let me have a vote. How many people do wish to break the tie?
I mean, one person is only needs to break that tie.
How many do not wish to break it? The skulls. The skulls sort of look at them. All candidates refuse to participate in your impossible game, Inunatio. They have not given you a choice, because your game was rigged to begin with. And Inunatio scowls, and then, and then disappears in a spout of flame, because he has been beaten by a group which refused to conform to his rigged and cruel rules. The party finds itself back in Olympus.
Our own strange brand of chaos rules.
Mopsilian is standing waiting for you alongside another familiar figure, Thaddeus Caleriton himself. And Thaddeus says, "Well done, and thank you." He kind of looks at you, Calixtus.
I immediately run up to Clarence and give him a hug.
He sort of looks awkwardly.
Says, you know what, I hope there are no hard feelings, this was a trip. And you need to pay these people more for what they just been through.
He nods and he says, "You're right. In truth, we did not know the extent of the danger until it was almost too late, and failure would have been disastrous and existential for all the worlds. But you would not let that happen, because you recognize that an unfair game remains unfair forever, no matter how many concessions you make to the one putting you in that position. The only winning move is not to play." So he pauses and then says, "You have earned not only our thanks, but the thanks of all the worlds. And for you, or should I say, Canivius, I believe there is a position open for one of your talent."
Does the position for my talent include
Hold up for Benny's.
It could.
Tenure.
Sort of looks tenured.
Not the moment it's heard.
As you are teleported back to your home world, we see, I think the camera pull back, we see Mops out with his mop, doing what he must. He's not snoring the way that you found him last year. He is smiling and whistling, thinking of the other Mops and their own actions, and perhaps how close he feels to all of them. And on his shoulder sits Dorian, whose whiskers are twitching. And that is the end of Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. I love D&D so much. It was a great pleasure to have you all with us. First of all, can we get another round of applause for the amazing? Let me go down quickly and say any last thoughts about this, and then I'll wrap us up. Let me start with Karen. Any last thoughts about this adventure, anything that stands, and anywhere people should try to find you and your stuff here before the weekend comes to an end?
Well, I am also in the anthology, so I'd be more than pleased if people approach me for their signatures. You could earn 3 right here, 4 in this room if you would like to get your anthology signed. It's been an honor to play this game with you over the last 6+ years.
Yeah.
From being handed this rogue day one and
like any chemistry with the party or know anything. And so it was a real blast just to play off with everybody and to share in the story with them.
Yeah, you do great at it as always. So.
I'm always astounded by what you say, so.
Yep.
So I have an exclusive short story, and I'm only going to repeat because some people came in now. I have an exclusive short story on the USB drive, which I hope that you'll enjoy. A little hard to sign, but as long as it's not, weird, I will sign you, sign paper, or whatever. I can sign something. I mean, I also have books for sale. Sorry, I'm not just. I recorded an audiobook 3 months ago. It's still wrecking me at moments. I'm fair bit over. Next time, record audiobook way more slowly. I would like to quickly thank the players. You've welcomed me into this group, and I've made some missteps and been awkward at times, but I love this, and I'm just so happy. The desk out there, and from Chris, who's
That's that
done.
window right around the corner.
Yes, and you can get both of these in a bundle. So for $40, I'm gonna give the pitch. $40, you get 16 stories, edited by Incredible Toya. You get 4 TTRPGs, 2 more bonus original short stories, a Cat Rambo free class,
And a partridge.
2 audiobooks, 1 he wrote and 1 I wrote and read, and there's something else. Yeah, there's 4 TTRPGs, and I think that's.
You got it.
He's asking. Okay.
You got it.
Thank you. So I would like to thank the players that are here. I would like to thank, and I think this is not like a pledge. Literally, like I'm hinting. Please thank every one of you for being here. To have this audience, to have the love. Thank you. I see you. I want to thank each one of you. You know who you are. Chat friends. You're thanked in my next book. Chat friends always a little heart. And I'm not going to list all of you, but you know that I know who each of you are. Thank you for watching. Still invincible, still garlic. We will talk soon. We will talk soon. And Sephiroth, we'll get there. And then I'd just like to thank Greg for encouraging me that I could be a bard. So.
Yay.
And last but not least,
Hi everybody. The only things that I have to remind you all is, even though I am not in the anthology, you should check out the anthology simply because it is rad. I still have copies of Can You Stand My Tentacle. If you want to read my poetry, please come and talk to me. And I am co-hosting the Gen Con Writers Symposium Speculative Open Mic tomorrow afternoon at 5 in one of these rooms. In this room, actually, with the wonderful Linda D. Addison. So if you want to hear other people read, or if you want to read a thing that you have written yourself, please pass through. As for this, I am utterly overjoyed that you asked me to be in this thing. Greg knows personally that I actually am not a big fan of D&D as a game. But I always absolutely enjoy playing games with Greg. I absolutely enjoy discovering how other writers engage in narrative, and share a table with very inspired players is always a great joy of mine. I'm obviously still having feelings about the fact that Claritin almost died. This is my 3rd year at the Writers Symposium. I've been dealing with writers every single year just because Greg asked me to. And just like actually being at the Writers Symposium, I am utterly overjoyed that you were all so gracious to have me here, and I'm glad that we got to do a thing that gives me so much joy. So thank you.
one more round of applause. Last thing I will add to this is 2 shameless plugs and 1 other note. One shameless plug is Brandon is also the designer of this. This is a tabletop role-playing game of Grey Shades set in my universe, the Grey Assassin Trilogy, which has just concluded 3 days ago. Heretic release, which is the last book in the series. And so Grey Shade, which is going to be released by Alligator Alley Entertainment. Alligator Alley Entertainment just announced that they're doing a role-playing game in the Phantasy Star universe as well, by the way. So they are going to be putting this out. We're very excited about it. That is going to be late this year or early next year. So Also, the Grey Assassin trilogy is also going to have 2 more audiobooks of it. There's a Grey Shade audiobook already, but there's going to be Renegade and Heretic are the final 2 audiobooks, and hopefully a limited edition hardcover, which Athos is going to be running a Kickstarter for towards the end of the year, also November, I believe. So if you're interested, there's a QR code back here, and you can scan that so you can know when that starts. This, Tales and Tomes, is the thing that founded all of this that you just saw tonight. So if you're like, this is cool and I'd like to know more about it, and I'd like to get a bunch of books for a mystical library written by people like Ed Greenwood, people like Will Sobel, people like Carlos Hernandez, Cat Rambo, and many, many others, you can get this at the Studio 2 booth down in the exhibit hall, again, looking for Alligator Alley. Last is the personal thank you. First of all, thank you so much to friends and wonderful players. It's an honor to be able to DM for these folks. If you like this and you're like, I want to see more of this stuff, join my Twitch channel where you can see more of these campaigns happening. But I also want to give you a thanks for staying around and being a part of this. And the reason for that is that Dungeons & Dragons is, and specifically role-playing games, have been always a very healing and powerful thing for me. It's the idea of finding light in darkness and hope out of despair. It was something that was done for me when I was a kid, and something which has stayed with me ever since. I've been DMing for almost 40 years now. So it's been a great pleasure to be able to do it, and whenever we do this, we come together as a community that hopefully was elevated a little bit by the emotional experience of what everyone decided to do in this room. It was a great pleasure to share that with all of you. I hope you'll spread the word about it. If you want to see more of it, let us know, and I'll see if I want to write another one for next year. But regardless, please let everyone know if you enjoyed this, and I hope you'll go out with a bit of a spring in your step and a smile on your face. Thank you for having been a part of this. Thank you. Thank you, Twitch. I'll see you all soon. Thank you, thank you. Okay. Good night, everybody. Thank you all. I'll talk to you soon. Tuesday, maybe. Bye-bye, everybody. Hillness and Fury Fire here, too. Oh, it's twitch.tv/Arvin Eleron. So it's ARVANELERON. But if you just look for my Twitter or my Blue Sky, which is @Gregory A. Wilson, I have a link there too to that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. I'm going to stop this now.